morning.
We just want each one to introduce themselves, then we'll come back to you, Mayor, to take up the issue, okay?
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, MEC, MMCs. Good morning, Executive Mayor, members of the committee. My name is Pagamile Bengashe. I'm the Head of Department for Communications in the City of Ekhuruleni.
Morning, Chair, and morning, committee members. My name is Karisol Rudla. I'm the Group Chief Financial Officer and also the Acting City Manager. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning to the members of the Portfolio Committee. My name is Zingisani Ngamana. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Ekhuruleni Housing Company. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Philip Rakwale. I'm the Chief Audit Executive. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Gratitude Rampaka. I'm the acting MD for Ekhuruleni Water Care Company and the CFO.
Sorry, you are the CFO?
And today, acting MD for the company.
We didn't hear that.
I'm the CFO of Ekhuruleni Water Care Company, but today also representing our Managing Director.
So CFO of the water?
Ekhuruleni Water Care Company.
Okay. And then you've got a group CFO. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. Let's get back to the Mayor. Thank you. Mayor, you can introduce your submission.
Thank you, Chair. We actually prepared a full presentation, and we are guided that we must just focus on the audit outcomes for the period 2023-2024.
Sorry, when you say you've got a full presentation, you mean that's the one you submitted to us?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Then all we need is just a 5-minute summary. Then assume that we've got that.
Okay. No, thank you. I must maybe indicate that I am now as a mayor a year and 4 months in office. I take pride of the leadership that we've exercised over the city's administration and service delivery. We do think that we've been able to accelerate service delivery in the main issues of governance and the entire financial management. We've launched or announced a program of action which includes the 6 key pillar program of action, which identifies the strategic issues that we need to perform on, that we need to ensure that the provision of services is of quality and is sustainable, that we improve on the revenues of the city in order to fund the service delivery, that we need to conduct the repairs and maintenance, that where we do not have money, we must, in conjunction with the private sector, ensure that we bring private sector along to work with us, that the economic development, because we're in a municipality in Gauteng, should also become the area of focus with the Retropolis and the program to revitalize the manufacturing. And the last one is compliance and clean audit. And we've launched a service delivery war room and also activated the mayoral Zimbizo just to ensure that we build trust between ourselves and the communities. Turning to the issue of the audit outcome, we must indicate that the city has maintained an unqualified audit opinion, and that the 3 critical areas that the AG normally look at, which includes the quality of the financial statements, were clean. In the performance reporting, it means the service delivery that we report on all the KPIs was also clean. The only area which has been a bit of an area of regress has been the non-compliance material finding in the area of supply chain. And then this is, about 2 contracts that are standing on our way between the unqualified and the clean audit. And we do believe that we're well on our way in terms of achieving the clean audit. We have introduced few measures in the area of supply chain, the training of our officials, but also, some consequence management in order to actually ensure that this area we perfect it, work well with MPEC. MPEC has been seized with work to actually ensure that we are accountable on all areas of findings. And Chair, we are sitting with a balance of just over $1 billion, the overall balance, and we're working very hard to turn around that opening balance. And this is made up of an unauthorized expenditure, which is a new finding, an unauthorized, for the longest time we did not have an unauthorized expenditure, but this relates to the excess consumption by Indigent. We've of course engaged with AG in terms of that finding, because it's out of a policy choice, and when Indigents, you give them the 6 kiloliters of water, you give them the 50 kilowatts of electricity, but they consume more. And you can sometimes switch them off. I mean, our Indigents in informal settlements and all that, you can't switch them off. But we've reviewed the policy, and we've actually been guided in this financial year in terms of how we must treat that excess consumption by Indigent. It's a huge exposure for us, a risk profile, and we do think it's an area that we are engaging with AG in terms of their guidance. But we think in this financial year, the results that are going to come, because we've now disclosed it and also written it off, and how do we treat it in our financials, it will actually assist us. The other areas of fruitless, irregular expenditure, that is where there's actually R1 billion, an area that there's a lot of historic, amounts. And then on the fruitless expenditure, we're sitting at about 68 million. We do think, Chair, comparable to all other 8 metros, we've been one of the metro that is sitting on the top, and we think if we can work well to enhance all the efforts, we should be well on our way in terms of achieving the clean audit. 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Or I can ask even the CFO to chair, if you allow.
I'm very kind, so I will give you more time.
Okay.
You've got another 3 minutes, don't worry.
I just wanted to add the entities. We've got 2 entities that are owned by the city. The Ekhuruleni Housing Company, which looks at our social housing, our low-cost rental stock. It has achieved the clean audit, and also ERVAT, which does our wastewater treatment works. It has also achieved the clean audit, and we think all those we will retain. We have released now our financials on time to AG and also to National Treasury and also to all the oversights. Chair, CFO.
Thank you, Chair, and again, morning, members. Chair, just to go brief on the details, Chair, if you look from the AG report that has been presented in Parliament, you will see that as a city, amongst the 8 metros, we are the only city that were given good on the financial statement and performance information. The only challenge that we had was on the supply chain management and the intervention that we have done. There was one finding in terms of the evaluation, of which they identified around 15 companies, which resulted in an irregular expenditure in total of 32 million. What we have done immediately after AG has tabled the report, we have cancelled all those tenders and communicated with the affected service providers. Out of the 15 service providers, there were 6 of those that submitted fraudulent documentation, of which we have opened criminal cases against them, and we have further referred the matter to National Treasury for blacklisting. And we have further took all of those findings to internal audit for further investigation so that other consequences management can follow. Then we also did, Chair, we also did a robust diagnosis in terms of the root causes, and we did a training that was in-house from our governance structure. We also did a review of all supply chain committee members, looked at their non-performance, looked at the capacity challenges, and we have augmented those issues. And we believe, Chair, we have adequately addressed those issues, and we remain confident that when AG comes, they will be able with the issues of the consequence management and how we have dealt with the irregular expenditure. On the unauthorized issues, Chair, it was for the first time in the history of the institution. I mean, for the last 10 years, we never had unauthorized expenditure. It relates to the access consumption. We did work with the AG. They have advised in terms of what we must do. We revised the policy immediately after they tabled the report in January. In council, we went ourselves in council to revise the indigent policy to ensure that it's aligned with the guidance we've received from AG, and we don't project or foresee any unauthorized expenditure in that direction, Chair. And as far as it relates to fruitless expenditure, we are sitting at the balance of 68 million. It's historic. For the last 5 years as a city, we have never had any fruitless in that direction, Chair. Then we have one material irregularity, Chair, as reported in the audit report by the AG. It relates to our distribution center in the fresh produce market, where we did build a fresh produce market with an intention to lease. And when we were supposed to lease, then the business sector, they came and they raised an issue that the lease term of 10 years is not practical for them as far as it relates to the infrastructure that they must put. They wanted a longer term lease, and our policy was not permitting. We want to cancel for that policy to be revised. It went to public participation, and we should be in the process, Chair, to advertise that particular tender. Thank you.
Okay. Between yourself and the mic, there's one of you is soft, so we're going to be hearing from you a lot. I just want them to adjust the mic properly so we can always hear. Just test this mic again. Some of the... Let's try.
Chair,
Yes.
is it fine now?
That's better.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we must stick to that one.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Switch the other one off. I think it's a much better mic. All right, thank you very much. You have here members of the portfolio committees of Cogta, National Assembly. You got members of the SCOPA from National Assembly. You got members of the Standing Committee on the Auditor General. So we are here on an oversight visit, joint oversight visit of these 3 committees. We're basically looking at 2 issues. The functionality and service delivery issues in the municipality. On the one side, we're also looking at the audit outcomes. So our conversation will be quite wide-ranging, with a strong emphasis on the Auditor General's report, and then we'll be talking about everything else in the municipality. You've given us your outline, you submitted some of the information. The members have got specific areas that they need clarification on, and that's the nature of the engagement. So if we ask questions, we will direct to you, you will decide who should answer, but we'll try and keep it flowing so that we request you to do very direct responses. We'll get questions, 1 or 2 will be asked to you, and then you'll respond, and then you'll go back. We won't give you like 15 people at the same time. We'll give you 1 or 2, 3, whatever, then you will respond. What we want to request you is try and be very brief, concise and straight to the point. If we think you're wandering away, we'll stop you. So just please understand that we're not looking for a general address and broad policies. We just want facts on a specific matter that is being raised. That's really the approach for today. And all the members here have got specific issues that they need clarification. Sometimes they might indicate whether they are satisfied with the answer or not. And if they are not, we'll have to ask you to redo that again. But let's try and focus who has the best information to focus on it. We have the MEC here. The idea is that we have a joint accountability platform which we are putting for national, provincial, and of course yourself as local. So we'll emerge with a common set of issues of interest, things you will do that the MEC will monitor and we will receive reports about. And at the end, we hope that we'll be able to get regular interaction. We don't have good attendance from the provincial leadership. I still don't quite know why, but what we will be hoping for is that some of the things that we're discussing here will be taken forward by the provincial legislature. Of course, we'll be working together with the MEC all the way. So, honorable members, there is Ekhuruleni. May we then start? Let's look at hands of interest. All right. This time we're going to start here, go that way, and then come back, start here, go that way. I've noted the hands. Thank you. So, Honorable Direko.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to the colleagues from Parliament and municipalities. My name is Direko and I'm a member of Cogta committee. I have one question, in fact, 2 questions, Chair. The municipality has been associated with billing challenges for many years, and in one media article it was indicated that the executive mayor has indicated to media that they have resolved the matter. Can the executive mayor please take us along on the implications of this billing crisis to both the municipalities and the communities? And how is the Metro addressing the loss? And secondly, how is the Metro addressing the loss on material loss on electricity as indicated by the AG? And also, when we are looking at the comment of the AG, she raised something about the procurement and contract management, whereby she was also raising a concern about the scoring that the Metro has used that is not the same as the one that was on a bidding document. Can you please also take us along on that matter? Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor and the team. At least there's one woman, there's hope in the team, Mayor. At least it's no longer Women's Month. Thanks, Chair. Mayor, thanks for the presentation. You also, with your team, referred on the AG's report. But if I take you to page 109 of the AG's report, there's the most disturbing pictures of bad roads. It says that it's poorly maintained in Ekhuruleni. If you go to that AG's report, they also cite the issue of sewage that is flowing into the roads. Please comment on that one. The AG further said in page 129 of the report, there is an ineffective councils and councils committee who do not adequately oversee the budget prepared by municipal managers and approve unfunded budgets. Can you also take us through that? I know you spoke about the water loss, which is standing at 1.30 billion, and electricity is standing at 2.7 billion, but you are saying you are doing something. Can you just go into details? Because this is not a good picture. On fruitless and wasteful expenditure, is growing. It was sitting in 41 million, now it's sitting in 81.45 million. The last one, Chair, is the high resolved murder cases, Ekhuruleni. Can you also take us into confidence on how far is the case of the latest of Mpho Mafole, who was the head for cooperative and forensic audit? And please take us through, because the news said that one of the reasons is allegation, until it's proven, that he was investigating into 2 billion electricity scandal of Ekhuruleni. So now the question is, the new head of forensic audit, is he safe or is she safe? Because it seems as if it's true what is reported on the media about the reason of his killing. So what do you do now, Mayor, to protect that unity within the municipality? Because one of the challenges in all municipalities, even yesterday we engaged with the Premier and the MEC to say one of the most problem in the municipality is the issue of corruption. That's why we have this crisis, no service delivery, people are suffering. There is money, we are collecting revenue, but corruption. So what do you do in the municipality to curb corruption? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. As you start your response on these issues, can you just give us quickly your annual budget and your collection rate? And then deal with all these issues together. It's going to be up to yourselves how you deal with them. Yes. So please proceed.
No, thank you, Chair. Our annual budget, the current budget is 68 billion rands. The target collection rate is 90%. Which, you know, from time to time we sit at about 92% of collection. But of course, given the economic challenges recently, it has been a bit of a challenge. We have to ensure that there's a robust credit control in place. And of course, we also have the social packages to caution the poor. You'd know the makeup of Ekhuruleni. 78% or 80% of it is made up of historically disadvantaged areas, our townships, our informal settlements, and hostels. But the billing challenges in the city, and I must indicate that certain changes that were introduced in the billing, revenue management, metering, specifically around 2022, 2023, you know, introduce some of the challenges in our billing. While we appreciated some of the recent innovation, introducing, digitizing or enhance digitizing, but when it leads to material losses, 2 billion, it's something that can't be accepted. It's something that the impact are severe in the service delivery. It impacts on the speed within which you attend to potholes, you cut the grass, and all that, because you have to pay the bulk purchases to ESCOM. You must still pay the engineers that must maintain, the provision of the service. But if you are equally not collecting, in particular from large power users, it means its companies, its industries. And that will have been the case, and I must indicate that the consequences that we've introduced in relation to the matter, I might not make a lot of comment around them because the DC is ongoing. But what is important is that what is the program that we had to put in place to turn around the situation, where to restore the service, where to ensure that we put proper systems in place. We are happy that where we're sitting, we have now reduced, or we have now improved the billing accuracy from the 84% to 97%. I'm saying we've improved the billing accuracy from 84% to 97%. And I must say that for a city as big as us, a percentage that is not billed or not read contributes significantly, to our revenue. We can approximately about 200 million, if we just want to quantify the size. So if anything 84%, once you go below a particular area, depending on the size and the impact is quite significant. But we're happy that we have turned around that, and we're now doing the back billing. It means we're doing the recovery. If you've benefited from not being read at a particular time, you know that you've not been billed. We then put up a mechanism according to the policy of the city. We must now give you, or rather monitor your current consumption, give it 3 months so that we can then come to you and say, in this particular period, you benefited, you are not billed, and the policy is known. We are now recovering that money. We've recovered 365 already that has been paid to our coffers. 1.4 of that we've successfully billed. We are now launching a robust collection. So all what we're saying is that we've robustly attended to the issue, and it should be an issue of the past. What we now must just project is how long it will take us to collect the cash in the bank, because to read is one thing, to bill is another, but to actually get the money into the bank, it's one area that we're looking at, so that we can quickly ensure that all our systems are up and running. The material losses on electricity, I'm sure that the CFO can talk to that, including the areas of procurement. But some of the losses on electricity, we can indicate the technical and non-technical losses. Technical losses are those that are due to the system itself. But the non-technical losses are those that are due to a third-party interference. It could be illegal connections on the system. It could be inefficiencies for us to collect. And one of the areas that we're battling with is the third-party interference with our system, and that beyond the theft of our cables, of our transformers, and all that, beyond the illegal connections by informal settlements in the CBDs, the bad buildings programs they illegally collect, and the various measures that we do. But the other ones, it's where we then monitor who is, tempering. And I'm not talking about now the 2 billion. I'm talking about the normal operations, because we must separate that one, because it was a change of a system, what we call automated meter reading for large power users. But we're talking now ordinarily, in the ordinary course of our work, we have to do the various audit. We have to audit the consumption of one customer to actually see if there is a change in the behavioral patterns, in the manner in which you consume, so that you can actually pick up if there's tampering and you are able to deal with that tampering. So those are some of the measures that we're talking about in those areas in terms of material losses, both for electricity and for water, and is an area that we're looking at because it's got a huge impact on the revenues. And I know this CFO maybe will also update on the revenue enhancement program to actually look at what is available in the market that can actually assist to deal with the billing challenges. The issue of service delivery, Chair, bad roads. We've been battling a bit, in particular in the rainy season. With potholes and all that. And I must indicate that Ekhuruleni is a 97% tarred. If you go to across, it's fully tarred, but some of the townships in the east where we're still battling, so we focus there on the east in terms of building the tar roads. But when it's a rainy season, we've been struggling a bit to actually ensure that we patch and then we rehabilitate those roads. One of the things that has contributed in the past is because we also rely on the external services, to get a tender to actually assist us. So that appointment was a bit delayed, but we're happy now that the tender is in place. We've actually been able to recover on that program. And I've indicated, Chair, that the service delivery outreach and the service delivery Fridays is one way that we use to actually ensure that that which is reported, we go there as the mayor. Even now, when I come out of here, we're going to Jimiston. It's a service delivery outreach. We go to those projects and actually ensure that where it is reported, because we've got a dashboard where it is reported that service delivery, interruption in this area, we actually attend to it. And this also goes to the water challenges. Various MMCs, they've launched various outreach program, from the Sivalama pothole to the Kanyisa Mhlali program to the Siya Cleaner, Siya Khuculula program, Siya Khuculula Namhlanje project. So those are some various interventions that takes the leadership of the mayoral committee with the senior managers to various areas to ensure that these service delivery challenges are actually attended to. So we have, Chair, effective council. We've got a robust council. It's stable, including all the oversight committees. We've got separation of powers. The executive, we've got about 18, there's a number that is reported in a page, 1679 committees, but also standing committees, which includes MPEC, quite effective, and that is why we've been able to reduce, opening balance in terms of irregular and fruitless expenditures, and ensure that there's consequences. Including, Chair, our budget has always been unfunded. We've got letters to confirm this. The current budget, we go to National Treasury, there's confirmation that our budgets are funded. We've always presented credible and funded budget. The only risk is our ability to get the money on time. Let me make one example, Chair. We pay to ESCOM today. We must pay the current account to ESCOM. But for us to recover that money, from our communities take us so many days. We could 30 days in areas, they go 60 days, they go 90 days, which really impact on our cash flow. And it's one area that we've been a bit battling with ESCOM, because sometimes they want their money in 15 days. They say, no, 15 days, pay us. But we say, I mean, even if you you pay to PEP stores, you pay, and our communities, they would not be able to pay us in anything. So I'm saying those are some of the challenges that we have to deal with, because there's so much pressure that we pay ESCOM, there's so much pressure that we pay, rent, water, and we do pay and pay on time. But sometimes we feel that they've been made a special case, and yet how they provide a service and they respond, in giving us a service, it's something that has not been looked at. In particular, us as metros, we must pay and pay on time. But our communities, they don't pay us on time. I think that is a big area that, but the other issue, Chair, and I think the issues of violence, and we've reported it to the police. We are interacting with the police, and they've responded on the matters, and I'm sure once these matters are concluded, we will then get the necessary update. It's not just this Audit Mpo Mafule who has been killed. We got another adjudicator, Semnikiwe, who was also killed. The CFO who is sitting here next to us survived a hail of bullets. All our officials, the senior officials now, almost all of them, once you are in the employ, then you must then get the capacity in terms of security and all that. We do risk assessment on the environment. We do a risk assessment on the leadership, on the senior management, and then subs. Then they are able to advise in terms of areas where we must intervene. We must indicate that the head of Audit, he's here with us. He also deals with issues of forensic and all those investigation, and they are then afforded the protection. Our EMPD, they actually add that capacity to ensure that they are protected. But what what gives us courage is that all of them, they are determined to do their work, they're determined not to be influenced by wrong things. And I think largely it is bad influence, from different groupings, forums, and all that want to influence how we must do things in the city. But from our sitting, we are determined that everything must be done according to what is in the legislation. If there's empowerment programs, those empowerment programs are open so that communities, they can be empowered to participate in opportunities that comes in the city. But I must indicate, Chair, that it's an area that we're looking at. Maybe, Chair, we can also brief you outside of, in terms of some of the sensitivities. Chair, CFO, if you can.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Chair. Chair, in terms of the losses, as a city, we have adopted a strategy both on the water losses and on the electricity losses. If you look on the water losses, the target from the norm in terms of the Treasury is 30%. In the 2023-2024, we're at 27%. And currently, as part of the reports that we submitted to AG of our financial statement, we are sitting at 25%. So our strategy is yielding positive result. Then on the energy side, the target is 12 in terms of the norm. When we closed the then reported by AG in Parliament, we were at 16.25. And in terms of the financial statement that we just recently submitted to AG, we are sitting in 15.5. So there are different mechanisms that we are using to deal with these issues of the losses. Then when it comes to the revenue collection, we are collecting above 90%. And the challenge remains in the ESCOM supplied areas. Because you all know, members and the chair, that the strength of our collection is on the disconnection of electricity. And in the ESCOM supplied area, then we don't have that. But what we have done as council, as administration, we took a report to council that deals with water management pressures. That those residents that are in ESCOM supplied areas and that are not paying, then we will not completely shut them off, but we will manage their water consumption. Then when it comes to the issues of revenue, we have taken upon ourselves that the traditional revenue are no longer assisting the institution. We need to look at innovation in terms of how we expand the revenue base of the city. And we took a strategy to cancel last year in November. They
2.4 billion rand is revenue is at risk. I just missed what is the cause of the risk.
Okay, thanks, Chair. So Chair, what we did, we did take a strategy to council to identify innovation and additional revenue outside the traditional revenue, of which traditional, you'll know, is the property raise supply. So we projected 2.4 billion in the current year. What do we mean when we said at risk, Chair, is that we are appointing service providers. So it means if you don't generate any revenue to the institution, you don't get paid anything. So we pay based on your strength of what you generate to the city, based on the profit sharing that you will have put on your proposal. For example, in your proposal, you will say, I will bring 500 million to the institution, and on the 500 million that I'm bringing, I want 30% or I want 20%. That is how it works. So if you don't bring 500, you bring zero. You don't get paid. So that's why I'm saying it's at risk. So we have transferred the entire risk to the service providers, that because they demonstrated, they said they have capacity, then they must generate those revenue. That is what I mean when I said at risk, Chair. So that 2.4 billion, the city has not budgeted any related expenditure for it, because we will only pay based on what they generate to the institution, Chair. I can proceed, Chair.
Proceed, yes.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Then in terms of the issues of the repairs and maintenance, the EMF spoken about the programs that they, from the political leadership, they are dealing with to address the repairs and maintenance. And from administration, what we have done from the previous financial year, the budget was, which is the financial year that we have submitted to the AG, end of August, it was 3.1 billion. We have increased that amount to 3.5 billion. So this is to deal with the entire service delivery challenges in the city. It includes the roads, it includes the electricity and others, Chair. And Chair, as far as it relates to that, the comment maybe from the AG, It might have sufficed from the access consumption that resulted in the city having unauthorized expenditure. But if you recall, member, yesterday from the MEC level, it did indicate, as far as it relates to the metros or municipalities that had their budget funded, Ekhuruleni was part of those that they indicated that our budget are funded. I think, Chair, we did our best to respond to the question. Thank you.
So that 2 billion rand you're talking about, 2.4, were you answering the question?
No, I think, Chair, we were just expanding in terms of revenue management, that the over and above the 68 billion, because you did ask what is the size of our organization in terms of revenue. So we did indicate that it was 68 billion, but I then requested the CFO to expand in terms of what are other initiatives that we have, because the traditional revenue streams are under pressure, electricity, where we used to get a bit of extra money. NERSA approves what they approve, and increases to ESCOM, and what we can get from communities continues to shrink. We've got other unfunded mandates that we used to carry, or pressures from communities. So just to demonstrate, Chair, that we are working, even looking at extra sources to raise our revenue, Chair. If you allow, if Paki can come in just to give a report in terms of our spending on the repairs and maintenance, and also CAPEX.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members. Thank you, Executive Mayor. Just a brief report that we can report that in the previous financial year, 99% of the CAPEX was spent, and furthermore, 100% of OPEX was spent, ensuring that we are able to deliver services effectively. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to check with Kalipi. The questions that you have raised, what was the issue on the 2 billion rand?
Okay, Chair, it was under the electricity loss. There is sitting at 2.7 billion in water loss. I think they tried to answer it, but what I didn't hear is fruitless and wasteful expenditure, which is from 41 million to 8.4 million. Maybe if you can also expand on that one, Chair. Chair, can I just add the question that I forgot about? Thanks, Chair. And I'm happy I heard there is a person who is representing the social housing aspect in the team. So now there is a case that has been reported to me a long time ago, is from Realticon, submission, Mayor, in 2023, to have the windmill park development included in restructuring zone. So now the matter is yet to be tabled in the council. My question is, why is taking too long? 23, 24 is towards 25 now for the item to be presented in the council. I don't know if you are aware about it. I can share the details later.
Please proceed.
Thanks. Good morning to my colleagues, the city of Ekhuruleni. Good morning to my colleagues, the city of Ekhuruleni. See Usapumele. No, I also have just few short questions, Doctor. I think one would want to check. I see that AG highlights that you take about 125 days to pay your creditors. And I just want to check, why is this? Because the norm would usually be 30 days, or what is required by MFMA. That's one. Two, I just want to check around the issue of your indigent register. Do you have it electronically? What are your processes of updating it annually, every financial year? That's 2. 3, you used around about 13.6 on consultant in preparing your financial statements. I just want to check, and you still got unqualified with findings of which you did not get clean audit. 2021, 2022, 2020, 2021, and the previous financial year, you had clean audits. And the past 2, which is 23 that we are dealing with, and the 22, 23, you get unqualified with findings. I want to check historically, has you always been using consultant to prepare your financial statements? And the reason thereof for you to not reach a clean audit for the past 2 years. Lastly, AG as well highlights that you at some point as at 30 June last year, you had frozen some of the posts that you viewed as non-critical, of which obviously contributed the anti-desired output of that would always be the contribution in the increase of overall vacancy rate, which was at 26%, with 40% in senior management and 29% in the finance unit. I just want to check the status in relation to that now. I think also, especially with finance unit, would it not be better if you employ your own professionals than using consultant? Would it not be cheaper? Have you done some cost analysis in relation to that? And lastly, I just want to highlight that as much as I note that, AG notes that in your, as you spend about 5.4% of the total value of your PPE on maintenance compared to the 8% norm by Treasury. However, as much as I think the water losses are within norm because the norm is 15 to 30%, however, I'm a bit worried about the electricity losses because there you were at 275 billion, which is equivalent to about 16%, and that is above norm, which is between 7 and 10%. Now my worry is that also you are not spending much in the 8% norm in the maintenance. Now my question would have been that in the split of that 3.3 billion, how much are you spending maintaining electricity infrastructure? And particularly because it is the one that is above norm. And lastly, I want to check, because if I look at your it's my last question, Chair. I look at your debt, your debt. The AG tells us that 70% of your municipal debt is unlikely to be recovered. I think the mayor would have mentioned that you have about, your collection rate is about 90%. I want to check, is this the 2 billion that we are speaking about that you will be using a service provider to try and recover, and how do you reach that? And I see your impairments are quite high. That's why I was asking about the indigent register. Thank you.
Thank you. Note the questions. Let's get the next one.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to everyone. Tombovio Mende, member of Scopa. Chair, I want to just add also on the questions that my colleague have touched on, in particular in the loss of electricity. You are explaining the reasons, but here where I get a problem is when we do not get an expanded list of who exactly we're talking about, because the loss of electricity is mostly attributed to household, which is a very skewed narrative, because big businesses are taking electricity illegally. They are not paying, you don't shut them down. Can we get a list of who exactly is consuming this electricity in Ekhuruleni, and what are we doing to make sure that they are all paying Because households are not even 30% of what we're losing. It's the big businesses that are hiding somewhere. And what are the monitoring tools or mechanisms that you have in place in order to make sure that who's consuming where? The next one also that I need more expansion on is on consequences. You are explaining in terms of your fruitless, wasteful, and the unauthorized that the AG has picked up, in particular on the tenders that you have cancelled and all of that. But I'm not hearing what happened to the enablers. Yes, I hear you on blacklisting of companies and everyone, but those companies' documents, they didn't just fly into your office. They didn't get into your system on their own. Someone enabled the environment. And what I'm hearing from you is, no, we are providing training for people to understand the system. No. We can't be providing training to people that have a capacity to capture wrong information into the system that can cost us millions, and if AG doesn't pick it up, it slides. What happened to the enablers? We need the enablers' names and consequences. That must be clear. Again, on the 125 days that the AG spoke about, just recently we saw at Davidton Nase Etwatu protest, which was not the first protest. There's been protest in terms of collection of waste in communities. This is a result of non-payments of invoices of service providers. But there's another aspect within the service providers. There's big service providers, then there's subcontractors, there's 30% there, then the main contractor didn't pay this one. But in the main, if I render a service for government in South Africa, I must be paid. Whether I'm a 30%, whether I'm a main contractor, within 30 days I must be paid. Let's get an explanation as to why are we having waste department not being attended to in terms of payments of invoices for the service providers that must collect waste. That's a basic service delivery. I don't want a pile of a dead bin in front of my house. None of us. We cannot then do it to our people in the communities because we fail to pay the service providers, and the service providers can't run trucks without maintaining them diesel and all of that and paying workers. But if the city is not paying, then that service is not going to be rendered. Let's get an explanation as to why is that and what are we doing in order to make sure that everyone gets paid within 30 days. Then the issue of the water infrastructure again. The water infrastructure that must be, that is always refurbished, maintained and all of that. But in many times, it's left unsecured, which then becomes a vulnerability in the system because we have a lot of people that a crime in South Africa is a problem and our infrastructure becomes vulnerable and we need to secure them. What are we doing as a municipality to make sure that the infrastructure, not only at water, is secured and to eliminate any criminal activities that will then damage the infrastructure. Then the clinics, the maintenance within the clinics, the health department does not have budget to maintain clinics. Real estate is. However, I received a list of Eden Park, Ramaphosa Clinic, Muleleke, Barcelona Extension 8 clinics. The department can't do anything, can't maintain, can't buy even the smallest things because it must go via the other department. What is the integration in that area to make sure that there is timeless maintenance of buying everything, generators and everything, because we know we have a problem of electricity in South Africa. Yet, we do not have simple things as generators and clinics so that there is no disruption in the service in the clinics. Same applies to the pumping of water. When there is no electricity, then there is no water. Then there must be generators. Who is responsible for making sure that the generators are bought and those generators are assisting our people to get water timelessly? And is that being done?
Let's round up.
The last one is the mayor is indicating pressures on from communities, and which leads to unfunded mandates. What are those? Because we know the aspects that are attributed to indigent policies, but what are these new things that shock us? What are the pressures? What are we talking about exactly? Because we can't come out of here and say, no, we have dealt with why there are unfunded mandates. Let's get it clear as to what is it exactly? What are the items that lead to unfunded mandates? And these are the pressures from our communities, which leads to the municipality having to adopt a resolution on unfunded mandates. Thank you, Chair.
Let's have the responses.
Yeah, okay, Chair. Thanks, Chair, for the questions. Chair, maybe we just need to clarify a few things, Chair. As far as it relates to the preparations of the financial statement and the performance information, we do it in-house. For the past 6 years, when I was there, I've been the CFO there for 6 years, we have never used any consultant to prepare financial statement. However, you will have to understand that other components in the financial statement requires expertise. That, for example, we can't appoint them permanently. If you look at the employee cost, there is a portion of retirement obligation, which is an actuarial valuation. You can't appoint an actuary for 12 months or permanently when you know you only want a calculation once in the financial year. So there is a portion that will relate to us paying the actuarial there. Then there is also experts. If you look at the value of our asset, it's more than 40 billion. There are assets that are heritage in nature, and those expertise we don't have. Those are people that, as part of dealing with the financials, they assist us on the asset register. Also in terms of the PPE, infrastructure is complex in nature. Those is where consultants are used. But as part of the financial statement, everything that relates to the financial statement, we do it in-house, Chair. We are not assisted by anyone. We go to audit committee to present it ourselves, Chair, and AG can affirm. And for 6 years, Chair, we have not received any material findings on our financial statement and performance information. The reason why we have not received clean audit is one paragraph on the supply chain, Chair. That is one issue, Chair, I think we should clarify. Obviously, Chair and members of portfolio of committee, you will understand that local government, one of the issues we must deal with is the funding of the local government. Because our budget is not appropriated like province. Our budget is based on the strength of our collection. So as and when you implement the budget, there are certain governance issues that you have to analyze and assess. For example, you might have a structure approved to employ many people, but by then your collection is not at the desired level. You can't go and balloon your employee cost when you know that you don't have that funds in the bank. So those are some of the prudent accounting that we do, that at a certain point in time, we make those determinations. Yes, the vacancy rates in finance are 29%. Did they affect us? No, they have not affected us as far as it relates to the preparation of the financial statement, Chair. Then the other issue that, Chair, and we, even the MECs yesterday, they did speak about is the issues that relates to IGR processes, Chair. You all know that clinics are unfunded mandate. as a city currently, we are carrying 1.6 billion that we from our own monies that we collect, that we are paying staff that are actively involved there, and it's a matter that is sitting before province to assist us, either with funding or with taking that function to the province. And the issues, Chair, of why certain budgets are put in certain departments. Budget follows technical expertise. Health by professions are not people that deal with maintenance of cleaning. They are not people that deals with issues of generators and all. Hence you will see that the budget sometimes will sit in the EPMO because the technical people that understand the work, they are sitting there. And sometimes it will sit in the real estate because the technical people are sitting there. So budget follows the expertise. It will be difficult to put nurses and professionals to say, go and manage maintenance. Equally so even in finance. I'm a chartered accountant. I can't be responsible to be fixing blockages of sewer and all. It's not my expertise. It resides in the space of energies and of water. So hence we always make sure that budget must follow expertise so that you don't have these particular challenges. Then, Chair, when you look at the energy, we did talk about the losses on the water, the strategy, and I think even in the province they did adopt it because it's yielding fruits in terms of dealing with the losses. And equally so, when you go to the energy, I've also provided the trend that when AG presented, there were 16, and it's the figure you have referred to of 16.25. In terms of the financial statement that we have submitted to AG, we are sitting at 15.5. So the strategy is yielding, and it's also backed in terms of the finances. You asked the question, what are in terms of the 3.5 billion that we have put as a repair and maintenance? What is the biggest portion? The biggest portion is on the electricity. It's 1.4 billion that we put there. And we are putting it there because electricity in our space contributes the biggest stream of revenue. And for us from finances, that for us to be able to generate revenue, we want reliable distribution of electricity. Any disruption in that, it affects the finances of the city. Hence, the budget will always follow the department that generate the revenue. Then the issues of meter management. And how do we deal with this to ensure that the big role players, we can provide the entire list of our clients, but we have around 14,000 meters that contribute 65% of our revenue in the institution. And to an extent, even though there are DC issues, like the EMF indicated that we don't want to go into detail about the 2 billion because we still have a responsibility to protect the relationship between the employer and the employee that are subjected in the DC. But that is an automated system that deals with the 14,000 issues. To make sure that on a daily basis, the energy people as expect in that field, they must assess and ensure that there isn't any tampering on that, whether those functions are working. So those are some of the issues, Chair, that we are dealing with. Then when it comes to the calculations of payment ratio and revenue ratio, you will all agree, colleagues, you have looked at the AG report. As tabled, we don't have a finding in terms of non-payment of invoices within 30 days. The Section 65 finding we don't have. And our target as far as relating to the payment, it remains 80% of all invoices must be paid within 30 days. The responsibility of finance is to ensure that we pay valid invoices. As much as we are time-bound, but if there are issues that we are not comfortable, we send them back to the department for them to correct. Because when AG comes, as a CFO, I take full responsibility of all the figures that are sitting there. So there will be those challenges that are coming as far as it relates to review of the documentation. But the other issue that colleagues who must also indicate is that hence we came with the strategy of dealing with the additional revenue stream. is that payments is also subjected to the liquidity positions of the municipalities. So when people are not paying, it has a potential to affect ourselves as far as it relates. Hence, we've prioritized the issues of credit control. We have prioritized the issues of also asking the leadership office to assist us in terms of the awareness and all of that. Then when it comes to the issues of consequence management, and I think if you look at the report that the AG have presented in Parliament, when it comes to consequence management and how speed the Metro is to deal with the issues of AG, they all agree that when they raise the findings, we move with speed. You will know that they tabled in January, and from January to date is around 8 months. So we have already dealt with the issues of termination of the tenders, which is we have already reported to Treasury. We have done training, we have done everything. But when it comes to the consequence management, as far as it relates either to the bid evaluation committee members or the individual, those issues as part of us going to the MPEC, because the law required us that the report must be subjected to the MPEC. The MPEC instructed the head of internal audit to go and do the forensic. So we are awaiting all of those forensic reports so that we can, as part of us going on the DC, to be able, because fortunately our own internal audit, they are able to sit in the DC as I expect, to defend those findings. So the consequence management definitely will follow based on the reports there. I think I've tried to cover certain issues. Just one clarification, member, on the fruitless expenditure, we are sitting at 68 million, and it's a cumulative amount that comes from 5 years back. For the last 5 years, we have not had any fruitless. Then on the irregular expenditure, so the regular expenditure, colleagues, there will be 2 figures reported in 2 financial years, and I will explain it in this way. You know, AG tables in Jan. So when they table, we are already 6 months in the new financial year. So if they identify a finding, for example, if they come in this year, they identify finding of which it will be relating to the 2025. The consequences is that there is a potential that maybe already in the last 6 months, you will have made some payments. So that is the quantification you do. But in terms of reporting, because this spending relates to different financial years, then you will have to split those issues, but they relate to the same issues. So we have not increased as far as it relates to the number of instances of irregular expenditure. It's one thing, it's just that they were reported in the different financial years. When we gave the presentation format, you will see the split. It's the same issue, but we have closed as far as termination in that.
As you round up, MM. However, before the executive mayor can respond, I need to indicate something. When you were responding to one of our questions, you said we must understand the nature of local government and the challenges associated with collection. And our answer is no, we are not going to understand that. When you look at, when some of us who are here, we've been in council, we've been accounting officers in local government. So the reason why I'm saying no, we are not going to understand is that when the council adopt the organogram of the institution, they adopt it with expectations that they are going to employ team of expertise who are going to turn around that institution. And that team of expertise is expected to turn around the condition of that institution, irrespective of the challenges that are there. That is why we're emphasizing on the importance of revenue enhancement strategy. Looking at the population of South Africa, we have SARS. SARS is able to collect with that number of people. And then you have your municipality who says, no, we can't collect because of our economy. You must make a plan. When you place a fish in a water, you are expecting that fish to swim. You can't be told about how big the ocean is. You can't be told how cold or hot the water is. You have to swim. So we are not going to take that. You are going to make sure that you enhance your revenue so that it can meet your expectations as the local government. I will now allow the executive mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think that is why we have a robust credit control. When you must collect, streets get closed. When you switch off, people they took to the streets. But we remain firm because we must collect that which is due. Maybe let me start with the unfunded mandates. And indeed it's a pressure point because the legislation provides what municipalities must, what services do we provide to communities. We provide electricity, water, sanitation, waste. So there's a bit of a package of a list. But the expectation from our communities is that we provide. And often enough we're at loggerheads with the provincial government, including the national government to some extent. Just clinics, health is not a competence of municipal thing, but we pay about 1.6 billion rands to run clinics and there's no income for them. And with the reforms now, the National Treasury reforms, that says that which you get from electricity, ring fence it for electricity so that you reinvest it in the capacity to provide that service, including the sustainability. It means in the future we might not have an additional a bit of a surplus that we can use in other areas. In water, we're already struggling. That which we get from rainwater, we transport it to our communities. The cost is so much vis-a-vis that which we recover. And the waste, because those are the major areas where we get demand. Of course, rent, the rates are, I mean, we 68 billion budget, 9 billion come from the rates. Residents are already complaining. If we say they want to pay, everyone wants the value of the property to be higher so that when they sell, in their balance sheet, they are happy when the value is higher. But when we come with municipal charges on the basis of your property, people, they dispute, they fight. It's expensive to live in Ekhuruleni, it's expensive to do business and all that. But we must carry, I'm just relating some of the challenges, the pressure point to say, even if you look at the reforms, which we've embraced, we're already running with the reforms in terms of what needs to happen. However, it must be understood that in as much as we go with these reforms, the challenge is that we would not be able to carry some of this cost into the future. That's why we can now employ new nurses. There's about 97 clinics, and I think a small portion is taken over by the province already. Bigger numbers are still sitting with us. Now, to put medicine to actually and so forth, and I'm mentioning one, there's a problem of human settlements and hostels. And we are engaging with the province to say, we are expected to run, including national, we're expected to run with some of these services.
Can I
was just expanding on the, sorry.
Are you saying the clinics falls under the metro?
We built the clinics over the years, state of the art. Of course, there's an SLA that was entered into. Please, for whatever that you do, you'd be able to recover. But what we recover after 1.6 billion, and I'm sure MEC in our local government turnaround, we've had this conversation, it's only less than 200 million. And we've got 1.4 billion that we must cover. So we are talking about unfunded mandates that we still carry in the area of human settlements, in the area of sports and recreation across. Youth, they expect us to come on board. And the pressures is that we can't be charging for some of this, but where do we get our money as a local government. We get our money from that which our communities pay. National government, provincial government, they don't have to struggle with to fight people that they must pay. You go to those who work, you collect, whom our communities are already contributing. But I'm sure it's a debate for another day, but we must register it when we say our communities, when you go to them, already they've been taxed. We must also collect what we must collect, but we're expected to offer across. As a mayor, communities, they want everything from you. And of course, there's DDM and all those platforms where we're expected to provide security. EMPD, the expanded of the metropolis is beyond just enforcing traffic enforcement, of which the money, it is still contested that we collect there. Yet we run state-of-the-art licenses and all that. And what does National do? They bring only the paper, the face value, but we bring the people, we do the entire service. And but the money is contested, is taken away and all that.
Okay.
So I was just expanding on the funded mandate because it's an area that we're passionate about. There's just two areas.
Sorry to interject on you as you wrap up on the responses. And there's also a question about the windmill park, which is also not answered.
Yeah, there's a number of them. I've noted. Okay. I've noted them. I'm just going to try and run them quickly. The issues of repairs and maintenance, and I know the emphasis was on water. We are a champion in Gauteng, because we've been able to run a very robust water demand management and water conservation programs. We've reduced the water losses. We're now targeting to sit at below 25%. We're utilized by the minister. Our MEC leads that area quite well. But what does it mean? We still have challenges with water leaks, sewer blockages, which our communities, they expect us to attend to them. And we must indicate that the money that we spend now on repairs and maintenance, we're sitting at 6% now, 6.5%. So the target, National Treasury set it at 8%, but we've been able to increase it now with another 400 million, including the electricity issues. 12% is the target, but because of some of these challenges, it has taken up to about 15%. But I must indicate why we're saying it has been resolved now, because we've been able to reduce the losses from 29%, if you look year on year. That financial year, when we started to uncover this problem, and in this financial year, the results that we just released were sitting at 15%. So we're well on our way. With the Q1, Q2 results, we're certain that would have turned around the corner in that area. The issue of vacancies, we've got competent HODs. The media that says we do not have capacity and all that, competent, qualified, and the CFO is a chartered accountant across all our, what you call, in the Department of Finance. I'm sure we've got over 4 or 5 a chartered accountant directing different functions. The engineers, competent engineers. I mean, some of the media just recently, when we employ Dr. Stephen Gobeni as a head of human settlements, quite competent, but someone writes that we are not employing competent people. And the city manager that is outgone, a doctor for quite some time, we're out in the market now. We're finalizing the process to acquire a new city manager. The institutional review, Cogta says to us, there is an institutional review, which is a directive, which we've done so well. So it meant that at a particular time, we must observe the process to finalize the institutional review. We've been able to reduce our departments from 23 to about 13. Now, you can't then at that period, when we are busy with that institutional review, still be expected to fill up that post. For instance, roads and transport, we had to put them together, match them, and create one department. And it's an instruction from Cogta. It's a directive that we think we've done it so well. But of course, it meant that there will be a delay because you must wait for this one's contract and that one's contract, because we've been running on contract regime for quite some time. It comes also this thing of saying permanence, where we are expected to permanent the HODs. But how do you permanent them while you are not observing this transition? That you must finalize the institutional review, but you must also look at what is it that you cannot. We cannot permanent a person today. Tomorrow you are expected to actually save in terms of having the many departments. Now I'm just raising it. If you look at community services, in a metro, we usually have a head of health, we have a social development, we have a head of sports, arts and recreation, we have all these heads. Now we're putting them together, we're creating what we call a community service. Now it's a new thing in a metro because it's quite a complex municipality. In a smaller municipality, it's easy to put this expertise and that expertise and produce one function. Now, what is community services in our? We try and package and say, but what type of senior official are we going to get from the market? What is it that is closer? So it's actually a process, but we think it's a process that we've done well, and there should be no reason that this, say 40% of senior management in Ekhuruleni is vacant. It has never been. Including now, we've got about 3 head of departments that we're finalizing. The other one, waste, which has been affected by the metro trading reforms, we had to repurpose it or do some changes there. The reason for non-achievement of clean audit in 2023-2024, I think I have been now at the helm of this function. I know that we are well on our way to the clean audit. I know that the various measures that we've introduced are taking us there. I can go back and talk about my predecessor or my other one and ask them, Mayor Ngotwan, what happened? Mayor Campbell, because before then, I was a finance MMC, just before 2011, we had the clean audit. And that is why I was saying some of the systems that we had in place, we know them, but we are now restoring them to actually get the city to function again. The last part I've been trying to check because I know something that has been raised with me as an inquiry about Windmill Park. So I've been trying to check, I know about it, so most probably I'll just need to check because the Ekhuruleni Housing Company, they are responsible for certain function, but they take certain things to our own Human Settlements Department to lead them. Because the component that they perform is only social housing, but it's part of the broader Human Settlements package. So I'll have to go there, Chair, and just make a specific follow-up on that. But it is something that has actually been raised before us. We're mindful of processes to approve developments, whether it's for social housing or for economic development. And there's an area that we're looking at to actually unlock. We've put up a measure now, an oversight called on DFC. DFC is a Development Facilitation Committee. We've now set up a mayoral oversight committee over those developments to ensure that developments, if an investor goes to city planning to put up an application for development, it does not sit there for a longest time. And this includes all the relevant approvals, and I'm sure this is one of those cases that we have to look at so that all these issues are approved and are approved on time. I'm not sure if we've answered all the questions. If there's any.
Okay, you want to finish off? Yes, yes.
No, thank you, Chair. No, Chair, I'm troubled by some of the responses. One, the response that says clinics are not within the full control or mandate of the municipality. Yet they have built the clinics and they even hire staff. Now I'm asking myself, if then maintenance doesn't become part and parcel of that clinic, what happens to a woman who needs to give birth and there's no water? And then you are told no, because these are nurses and doctors, or the only thing they know is a pill and writing a script. They have nothing to do with a tape. Yes, they will not have anything to do with a tape, but a maintenance guy comes with a clinic, is part and parcel of the structure of a clinic. A watchman is part and parcel of the structure of a clinic. So what then becomes a remedy of those situations? Because if a door is broken, that means that medicine is going to be left there with a door that cannot lock. If there is no water, it means the patients cannot be treated. What becomes an immediate? I'm not talking about the skills and the expertise of the people that are in a clinic. I'm asking about the maintenance of the clinics that should be offered, and they are not there. And the clinics cannot therefore function and give the services to the people. The second part again is on the unpaid invoices. Yes, the invoices, they may not be meeting the criteria to be captured or whatsoever and be returned. But here is a protest of people who do not have their dustbins collected.
Okay.
Because
okay.
that's not paid. And can we get a clear answer as to then what do we do?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to the next question.
Shortly. Oh, no, it's coming. Just shortly.
Well, this is hijacking, right?
No, shortly, Chair, through you. I think firstly the issue, well, I'm answered most of my questions, just one or two things, shortly. Shortly, the issue of 40% of vacancies in senior management, the AG highlights it in your MFMA report. Secondly, on the issue of asset management, CFO, I think my answer worries me, your answer worries me a bit, through you, Chair. Because AG as well highlights that we have problem with asset management. I do understand that, especially with accruals, usually municipalities would not afford to have that skill in the house. But in terms of asset management, I believe that you can do better. Given that besides you would be having biological assets, of which I doubt you have. And the issue of indigent register, I just did not capture your answer on that. Thank you.
All right, let's deal with the others.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings to the delegation. Kwenza Madlala from Scopa. I want to first make a follow-up on the issue of the city manager. When is the appointment expected to be made? My understanding is that she was going on retirement in August, so it's not an unplanned exit. We could have advertised in April, or, before time. I just want to know where exactly, at what stage are we at? I know that we're told that it is in process. But also I just need clarity, or maybe to be educated on the special leave, because I understand that she was placed on special leave. On what legislation did council rely on in imposing a special leave? And I've found that in most instances, authorities avoid placing people on suspension and give them special leave. Whereas my comprehension is that it is employee initiated, a special leave, and at the discretion of those in power, then they may grant or they may not grant. However, if there are allegations involved, there must be prima facie cause for a case or whatever the case, a preliminary investigation, and it is suspension. So I just want to understand what regulation was relied upon in deciding on a special leave as opposed to a suspension prior to the retirement period arriving at. The other issue I want to check is in relation to the allegation that there are some other officials that are facing criminal charges. What is happening in terms of internal processes about that, if that allegation is even correct within the municipality? I also want to understand the issue of restructuring, which then creates a challenge in terms of filling certain posts. The AG says due to insufficient funds, the municipality placed a hiring freeze on non-critical posts. So that reason is insufficient fund, not the restructuring, which the AG places. If the AG is accurate, I want to understand on the determining factor of these non-critical posts. Because some of the posts that are not that remain vacant are in the finance unit, but also in terms of now the labor relations provisions, what happens to the duties of those people that are placed, whose posts are freezed? Are they then given to other employees at an additional review of their JDs or some compensation? Or and what if we can live without them? Why are we freezing them and not just cancelling them altogether? If it is the case that we believe that we can survive without them and the employees can still perform and get compensated accordingly, and all functions in the municipality runs
Let's round up.
in a manner that is expected. The last question relates to allegations of corruption and political interference on the Newport housing project. I think you'll forgive me if I get the spelling or pronunciation wrong. I just want the take of the municipality or the explanation of the municipality around those allegations of corruption and political interference in that housing project. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Next question.
Thanks, Chair. Good morning to the Ekhuruleni leadership of that municipality. My name is Nombiselo Sompamasiu, Honorable Sompamasiu from Cogta. My question will go to the MM and the mayor. In my disposal, there is a letter from the Minister of Cogta where there were issues involving the appointment or the process of appointing the CEO, the CFO, Mr. Leruka. There were councillors who were sitting there, more than 3 councillors. So can you take us, I think you know the content of the letter, so may you please tell this committee, why did you ignore even the regulations that guided you on how that process should unfold? The second issue is allegations that 2021, 2022 bonuses were not paid, but 2024, 2025, 16.9 million was paid. Can you maybe elaborate to us, tell us what happened? And then to the Speaker of the municipality, just wanted to check if with her or with him, the stability of the council, are they sitting, and is there oversight of the chairpersons of portfolios? And also to the mayor, I'm worried about the issues of the service delivery. Maybe the MM can also explain to this committee how many employees do you have in the Ekhuruleni municipality? Do you have a challenge of ghost workers in that municipality? And lastly, as this committee, we have encountered a lot of, when we've been doing oversight, that most of the budget goes to the security companies. Is it in your municipality, do you have that story also? Maybe you can tell us, if you have a security, how much are you paying per month? Because we have encountered that most of the budget that came in the municipality in terms of the revenue income goes to paying the security. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please respond to that.
Thanks, Chairperson, and thanks, members, for the questions. As far as it relates to the number of staff we have in terms of the approved structure, we roughly have around 20,000, and out of the 20,000, those that are appointed is 15. Vacancies are 15,000. Vacancies are sitting roughly around 5,000, which gives us a vacancy rate of 26%. And in terms of the rent values, as far as it relates to the employee cost, is sitting at around 13 billion, which represent 20% of the total operating budget, which is within 30% of the National Treasury. So, and as far as it relates to the issues of security, one of the issues that we have taken, because one of the risks we have identified as a municipality as part of our strategic session was the issue that we have actually, in most cases, outsourced the state capacity to contractors. And then we took resolutions that we need to capacitate the state by insourcing certain issues that relates to tenders. One of the issues is the one on the security, where we have passed, even in the budget, we moved funds that were sitting under contracted services to the employee cost so that we are able to appoint, start insourcing the security. It also goes with the issues of the cleaners to deal with the insourcing. It also goes even on the waste, because we have realized that when we have a dispute or a challenge in terms of the waste, the service providers tends to stop working, and it affects our relationship with our residents. We also took certain funds in terms of buying waste compactors. In the previous financial year, we bought 10. In the current financial year, we are projecting to buy 20. And over the MTREF, we need to have a brand new compactors that will amount to 80, because we need 80 compactors to be able to deal with the waste issues. So those risks we have identified, and from the budget we are dealing with. Then, as far as it relates to the issues of the invoices, we take the concerns as raised, and as we have indicated that as a CFO, I have a target of paying at least 80% of our invoices within 30 days. Is part of the KPIs of the institution, and we have achieved that. And even in the AG report, we don't have. Obviously, there will be those challenges that we deal with. Then, as far as it relates to the asset register, asset register of a metro is a bit complex. You will see that even in terms of let's just take the road network. How complex is it to deal with the issues of useful life, impairment, and all of that? You require technical people to ensure that your asset register has integrity. And I can tell you, for the last 5 years, I've been there in the institution for 6 years. We have not had any finding as far as it relates to the asset. Our assets have passed the test. You can see even in the AG report, there's only one finding that prevented the city to achieve clean audit, which is on the supply chain. Then, in terms of the issues of the indigent register, we have two. We have the approved indigent process, and we have the one on the deemed. The one on the deemed is based on the property value. Those ones, they don't need to apply. As we do the property valuation, then they qualify automatically. It's around 600,000 value, and the others, then they will apply based on the strength of what we have provided in the policy. And we know in the province they want it to be reviewed annually. That every year they must come for reapplication. In our policy, we left it for 3 years. We believe that the 1 year is bit administrative work. We are still engaging with them in the process of IGR. Obviously, we work with AG. AG have other tools where they identify what a person that we don't have. Hence, we always maintain the good relationship. As and when they identify issues, we deal with them. Then, as far as it relates to To the issues of the bonuses, I think to date we paid the bonuses that relates to, if my memory serves me well, but I will look at the financials. I think we paid the bonuses that relates to 2021, 2022, if I'm not mistaken. I think we are left with 2 years. Bonuses in the financial statement, we are accruing them in line with the contract. But the payment, then it comes with the liquidity position, because these are only bonuses for senior management. So if we see that we have collected and the strength of our financial health are solid, then we can release it. But we put it as a provision in the financial statement. And the other issues, Ian, I think they are for you. Thanks.
Just before you pass, just quickly so I can follow. How bonuses are being paid for senior management. That's what you're saying?
Chair, I'm saying, maybe let me just explain it, Chair, so that we follow each other. In terms of the section 56 employees, which are HODs, they sign a performance increment, and at the end of every year, they get assessed whether they've met the KPIs in terms of what they've achieved.
Fine. I'm asking a simple question.
Yeah.
We're paying bonuses to senior management.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the next question is your vacancies. You said your establishment is 20,000.
Yeah. Yes.
When your vacancies?
Vacancies 5,000, roughly around 5,000.
5,000.
Yeah.
And how many of those are in the senior management?
Currently, in terms of the HOD, we have 3 vacancies, if I'm not mistaken. It's the COO, it's the head of business unit waste, and it's the community services. So those are the 3, and the 4th one is the recent vacancy of the city manager. So those are the 4 vacancies.
4 out of how many?
Out of 13.
13.
13.
Okay. And then the other
if you count the city manager, it becomes, if you count the city manager and the COO, it becomes 15.
15.
Yeah, the total top structure.
So the last question is about the indigent register. How many families are there?
In terms of the current figures we are having, they are sitting just above 200,000. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Then in terms of the deemed, then the one that are approved are around just below 50,000. When we combine them, they are less than 300,000, because we have a deemed, which is based on the property value. If your property value is below 600,000, we deem you as an indigent. You don't need to do any application. Then there are those that their properties might be more than 600,000, of which they qualify on the strength of the requirement of the. Those are the ones that they must come physically to submit applications. So I think we're around there. We are sitting at around 50,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Let's proceed with the responses.
Yeah. And the issue of the indigent, just a method to qualify who is poor is always a complex one that we continue to review in terms of what are the different thresholds, the salary, but also the value of the property. There are areas that we think we do need the portfolio committee to assist us with in relation to the Justice Department. For instance, for you to go to access the master of courts, because in our townships or majority of our population, they don't do wills. And this is a very big problem for us as a municipality, because our relationship that we have a relationship with the household, and the household owner is the one who's got the title deed. Now, and that's how we recognize you, that you are a household owner. You come, you register. I'm now the owner of this property, and so forth. We then contract with you. But because in the old townships, the parents, they are late, some they've moved back to Emakaya and all that, they leave people who must actually now are those, they become family houses. Then there's no structure of engagement, because for you to access anything with the municipality, it must be on the basis of a household owner. And this is legally, because if you don't approach it in that way, you enter into family squabbles and issues and.
Okay.
So why am I raising it? Is because it then becomes a problem for people to access, to be legally recognized as an indigent if you are not a household owner. But there's another mechanism that we then create, that go to the master of court and then get a letter of authority that authorizes you. But the threshold in terms of legal services there is set by justice. For if your property house is under 150 or the threshold or 200, you then you can access that service for free. But if your property house is higher, you need to get a lawyer.
Okay.
Now, many of our communities, they don't have what do you call it, and the properties are way above. I mean, an RDP house today is above 260, depending where you are. In Tembisa, could sit at 350, in Tsakane could be lesser and all that. So I'm just raising it because there's a serious issue, and I think if you can assist us that it gets looked at, it will go a long way. Now,
Okay, let's finish the rest of the questions.
Yeah, the issue of when we've now advertised, the advert has closed. It closed on the 28th of for the city manager. It closed on the 28th of August. We are now left with the other processes to shortlist, to vet, and then to finalize the appointment. We do think if everything goes well, we should have finalized in the next 2-3 months. In fact,
Did we respond to the ghost workers?
yeah, I think you did, but we can.
Okay, no, proceed. Then there's the issue of the letter from Minister about the CFO.
Yeah, we're going there. I'm still.
Yeah, let's try and focus. We're trying to.
Chair, I noted the sets of questions that were raised, but the advert is on. So the other one is that due to we create an organogram. Chair, we function on the basis of the institutional established structure. But the structure is not something that you do every day. The structure for 20,000, 24,000 employees was done between period 2016, 2017, 18. But the conditions today, in terms of filling up one funded vacancy, might be different, to when the structure was actually approved. So we just wanted to answer because there was a strong feeling to say you've got an established structure, so by all means. So the structures are a living, tool that guides us, that actually must also be responsive to the conditions on the ground in terms of what then becomes critical, which is on top of your priority, and what then becomes the less critical. And that is because of budget consideration, because that which we plan as a 68 billion is not money that is there. It's subject to us to collect it from the ratepayers. So there's always that one reality. So the letter from the minister on the strength of on the CFO, we have written back to the minister, and I must indicate that the CFO is a qualified chartered accountant. He has been the CFO for 6 years, but even before that, he has been from AG has been with us now for 14 years on various roles, for almost 10 years on various roles. So we did write to the minister and it was agreed that an IGR process is the best process, and an IGR meeting was actually set up. We're expecting that IGR to actually provide a leadership as opposed to a legal route.
Awuyibeke kahle ngoba uyasilahla. The minister is following the route in terms of government policy. So what is your letter to him? What are you asking him?
We acknowledge the letter. We then
What do you say in the letter?
we were asked to explain. We did explain, and then that process was then subjected to. For instance, one of the argument is that the position of the CFO must be permanent. And when we write back, we then indicate that we are busy with the institutional review in terms of the permanency regime. We are directed by Cogta to reduce our position, our departments from 23 to, in fact, the directive was straight in terms of the prototype. Let me just quote what comes from the staff establishment that comes from Cogta. It says, the prototype, we expect 10 people that must report directly to the city manager. And we then explained that our own institutional review was only adopted and finalized in December. So anything before that, we could not have introduced and did it on a permanency regime, because it would not have been possible, because once you permanent a person, tomorrow we are saying we are reviewing you, it will mean there's cost associated with that. So we explain all those aspects in the letter. So the IGR process was what was advised as the best platform to actually resolve the issue.
Okay,
and that IGR said...
Who advised? Are you saying you were advised? I'm asking who advised?
I'm saying we wrote to the minister.
Yes, I've heard that. I'm saying you wrote to the minister, then you have now been advised. I'm just asking who gave the advice.
Yeah, but in our interaction with the minister, including the MEC and the minister, because we do interact, it was then because we were then required, please write back and explain yourself. We don't write to the MEC, and from the MEC it was then returned to the minister. And of course the meeting was convened.
Now I'm asking who advised?
We agreed, let me say it like that, we agreed that an IGR process is the best process.
Who agreed with? You, Mayor, agreed with who that the IGR process?
Say it like that, we agreed that an IGR process is the best process.
Who agreed with? You, Mayor, agreed with who that the IGR process?
Minister agreed on that approach.
The three of you?
We advise one another, yes.
Okay. All right. There's an inaccurate statement that's a problem in this thing. Ne? When you say the IGR is the best way, better than the legal route, now it creates an impression that there's a law and there's something else. So that is not a correct way of putting it, because
maybe let me rephrase
Can I
it,
finish? Can I finish? Because the impression that you are giving here is that there might be something wrong, but don't take it through the legal route. And I'm just saying that the way you are putting it, that's why I'm asking who was advising. What you are telling us, there was a letter from the minister, you have engaged the minister, you are going to take the matter on in an intergovernmental process. If you say so, don't create an impression that the legal route has got a different outcome to this route, because everything here is supposed to be legal. That's the point I'm trying to make to you. That's why I'm asking who's advising you, because you mustn't leave here with different impression. It was a simple issue we're asking. How far is that process? If you say you've written to the minister and we have agreed with the minister on a process, intergovernmental relations process, we leave it to that. The MEC is going to come back and give us a report. That's fine. We can move to our next question.
No, thank you. Exactly that, Chair, that the meeting did sit and then it is going to be reconvened again to look into the into all our matters. And I must indicate, Chair, we are getting advice from Cogta on the many aspects, including our processes of finalizing the appointments of the outstanding HODs, which were now advertised on permanency and all that, because the other processes have actually been done. Including the issue of the city manager.
Just as a matter of noting, if you have got a letter from the minister as it stands, for us, that's where the issue is until the letter is revoked. If it's not revoked, everything else it means you have still not acted on the letter. That's how the thing works. So when we're trying to get those details, it's because when we meet with the minister, we'll raise this issue with him. What have you done now that there's been no response to your letter? And the minister must have revoked that letter. Here's the last letter. If he hasn't revoked it, the municipality is in default. That's how we look at it from our side.
We note that, Chair, and that is why we're now emphasizing that even the other functions that we've advertised, they are now in permanency, the issues of the panels, they are as per the guidance from Cogta. The last issue, Chair, that was raised is a low port corruption. And I must indicate that Lowport is part of the mega cities, the mega human settlements that we have in Ekhuruleni. It's amongst the 16 mega human settlements, and then it's various stages and allocation of houses in the other units they've actually started. It is not is meant to accommodate the communities of Reiche Park because of proximity and other communities. But there are other communities who are in Katehome who are also expected to benefit from that development. And I would not be sure about the corruption, but when the ward council of that ward when they are not happy about the allocation and beneficiary administration, they want all the communities to come from Reiche Park. And the process of integrating that you actually respond to human settlements across, it's what they're not appreciating from where I'm sitting. Unless then there's specific issues, but it has been largely on the basis of political party affiliation and makes it a political issue than being an issue of housing allocation and how beneficiary administration is being managed. Chair, thanks.
I still missed the response on the ghost workers. I don't need whoever, it doesn't have to be mayor. Someone who's in the
I did
administration.
not get a question very well, Chair. From where was
I thought you said you noted the questions.
Yeah, no, not very. I'm just asking because we do not have ghost workers, and there's various audit that I know HR they've actually been doing, as if there's a program to do audit in all our departments and various depots to actually ensure that the people who are on the payroll are people who are physically in the various departments and various depots and physically there and doing the work. But in terms of the technicalities, you can come in the.
No, if that's your answer, you don't know of ghost workers who've done audits, we leave it at that. We'll pick it up from a point of if there's additional information from members. That's the question that we're asking. Let's take the follow-up question.
Thank you, Chair. I think the question of the city manager, if I had the response was that it's on advert. I'm not sure if I got the response proper. All right, I want to check when it was advertised because like I had indicated, it was a normal retirement. So I would have anticipated that we would have advertised around May or because we knew that end of August, we are going to have a vacancy guaranteed. So I just want to understand that process. And I think advert lasts for 2 weeks. So probably it was advertised in August at the, when we know the employee is leaving. That's the first part. The second part related to the relied upon regulation to take a decision to place the city manager on special leave. I needed to understand that and be educated around it because it's a concept that I don't understand. Also, my question on the freezed post, I did not get just a short response of whether we believe that we still need them going forward. If we can freeze them and leave without them, why do we not rather include them in the restructuring and eliminate them? Otherwise, sitting at 40%, at about 5,000 vacant posts is quite a huge number. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, thanks, Chair. I think my honorable have covered me in terms of the 5,000 posts. And just to make a comment to this team, Chair, please don't run around the bushes when we are asking you questions. Just go straight to the point and tell us the answers that we are expecting from you. Because what you are doing is wrong. Really. Mayor, what you are doing is wrong. Just go straight to the question, answer us, is this happen, yes or no, and elaborate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just a follow-up question in terms of the position of the CFO. I understood the mayor saying they've advertised the post, or they're currently filling the post on permanent basis as advised. Can I confirm whether that also involves the position of the CFO or not? That's question number one. Question number two, in your input, Mayor, you've raised the issue of council reviewing the indigent policy, and you've also said that you wanted to put or to add more public participation. Does it mean that actually before, so there was no public, or there was a lack in terms of public participation? And then you've also raised the issue of 365 million, some of the losses on electricity as a result of technical and non-technical. Can you also clarify that? The last question No, you responded on the issue of companies, 15 companies and 6 companies that actually were blacklisted and reported to the Treasury. No, thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable members, we're not taking a tea break. And members who wish to have some tea, please go over to the restaurant and you'll pick up tea and you can come back with it in your refreshments. Let's take Nkosi. Are you? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Morning to the MEC, morning to the Mayor and the team and the colleagues this side of the House. I found a very interesting description by the Mayor of unfunded budget as being credible. I thought the two were mutually exclusive. Just a comment, I think it's been covered quite a bit, but that was not my understanding of unfunded mandate. But the question maybe I would like to ask, Chair, is how much does the staff owe you and how much do councillors owe in terms of the number? Secondly, I think that on this matter of killings, which unfortunately we're talking about 2 people already, whistleblowers, in your experience, Mayor and the team there, we know that that could have a very negative impact on whistleblowers. I just want to understand how robust your policy of protecting whistleblowers is. Actually, what is your experience since these killings happened? Because you know, with whistleblowing, there's always 2 parties, almost always. One internally or a couple internally and one outside, because the person outside could have never been involved in any monkey business without involvement from inside. So just how robust is your, and how do you think that this might have muzzled an effect of muzzling whistleblowers? Especially considering that Ekhuruleni, I mean, like many other municipalities we have established, is quite impacted by corruption over time. And then also the question which we came up yesterday as well, which has come up briefly here now, is really the degree or the level of politicization of in doing your job. I think it's very high at Ekhuruleni over time. Can you please just give an indication of the politicization? I mean, how much is it impacting or curbing you in doing your jobs? Because it has been very rampant there. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We're going to ask you to take those questions. While you deal with this issue of the whistleblowers, we had an earlier question about your manager's late Mafole, and you indicated something to the effect that there were more. So could you give us, that you can recall just now, or that have been attacked or assassinated, but we just want to know, do you know what the assassination was linked to? What work were they doing that was linked to the problem? You can respond.
No, thanks, Chairperson, and again, thanks, members for the questions. In terms of the indigent policy, it went for public participation. It's indigent policy forms part of the budget policies. So normally, in March, by law, will
table the draft budget, subject it for public participation, and it will include the indigent policy. And in May, then those policies with the comments from the public will come back and council will make a decision. So the approved indigent policy was subjected to public participation. Then in terms of the positions that have been approved in the structure, there are those that are critical, that at this, obviously we are prioritizing them on the strat, even though our revenue collection is 90%, but we are prioritizing it based on the liquidity position of the institution, because at the current moment our cash balance is sitting at 1.2 billion. We don't have adequate reserves to go on a full-blown employment of all the people in the approved structure. I think the mayor has also indicated that the structure was approved in long time ago, before the COVID, that had an impact in terms of the reserves of municipalities. Also the challenges of the ESCOM in terms of the load shedding, they did have an impact in terms of our reserves. Prior to COVID, we had the strong reserves. We're sitting at above 6 billion in terms of the bank, but through those challenges, those reserves get depleted, and even the liquidity as far as it relates to the collection rate. Then when it comes to
So how much are your reserves?
We have the cash balance of, like I've indicated, of 1.2 billion. Then we have investment of around in sinking fund of around 50 million, if I'm not mistaken.
650.
Yeah, I think it's around that figure. Those are investment in sinking funds.
Investment 650
million.
Yeah.
Cash on hand is around 1.2.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, proceed. Try and make your answers short and be direct.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Then in terms of the councillors that are owing the city, it's around 6 councillors, as disclosed in the financial statement submitted to the AG, and they make 119,000. That's the money that in total combined they are owing the city. Then in terms of the employees, I'm just getting the details, Chair. As they are asking other questions, I'll give you the exact amount in terms of the figures that our own employees are owing. I'm just waiting for the team to respond. Then in terms of the losses on the electricity, we are sitting at 16.2. This is what the AG has reported there. And out of the 16.2, 4.35% is a non-technical loss, which is inherent as you do distribution of electricity. It's inherent that you lose that, and it is making up of around, in terms of rent values, around 858 million. And in terms of the non-technical losses, which is where our focus in terms of the strategy to deal with this thing, where there are areas that are metered, we go and we meter them. If there are leakages in terms of the billing, we go there, and if also it includes the illegal removal of the illegal collection. In terms of the rent figure, is 2.2 billion, Chair. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Chair, and I think the issue of, I did not quite get the input on the unfunded mandate and unfunded budgets. So I was saying unfunded, our budget in the city has always been funded. We present them as credible. National Treasury confirm that, because every year after we've done the processes, we do subject them to that oversight from National Treasury, and to that effect we do get a letter. When we're talking about unfunded mandate, we're saying there is a certain work that we do that we do not get a revenue, a source of revenue. We don't get a grant. We're expected not to charge. For instance, the clinic services, we don't charge our communities when they come. Is part of the health program which sits in the province and national. While we've got an SLA that we must carry through but what we get in relation to that, there's a huge gap. And I was expanding on that.
Wait a bit, Mayor. You're talking about unfunded mandate. The member commented about unfunded budget.
Yeah, I think that's why I was saying, because he made reference to mandate and then he made reference to budget. I thought I must answer both.
No, I think,
just to.
he made a comment. He didn't ask a question, but if you were to do it, we just do it briefly. The member says, credible unfunded budget. That's what he heard. And he says those are contradictions. Now, you can just say, if you said it, yes, if you didn't say it, or you clarify, but let's not go to unfunded mandate. That's a different topic.
Okay, no, but we've confirmed that all our budget are funded. So how much does staff owe in terms of the whistleblowers and the policy protecting them, how robust it is? The head of the chief audit executive can speak to that. I know some of the aspects are covered in our risk management, which our chief audit risk would have been able to elaborate in terms of how do we manage those aspects. I'll go to the one that says politicization of our functions. And I must say that the mayor is appointed by council, but in executing my work, I must service the people of Ekhuruleni. We've appointed a mayoral committee that is composed of different parties. What we call a collaborative government. And as such, we always emphasize the non-partisanship in us as members of the mayoral committee in exercising our duties. I carry a responsibility to take the team along, and it requires a bit of coaching. It requires a bit of various engagement. But I must say that, Chair, we've matured in council, I could say, because in the advent of coalition, we've matured in terms of how do we manage, the coalition in council. The governance structure that we've adopted include us having a committee of what we call a joint political management committee for the parties that are in the collaborative arrangement. You can say coalition, but we refer to it as a collaborative arrangement because I am from the ANC caucus. But we can't govern on our own. We've got the EFF, which is in the collaborative arrangement. We also have the smaller parties, about 6 of the smaller parties. But what is important is that we must then have a common program that prioritizes our people, that is non-partisan. We must also make sure that the budget is funded, that as we do our outreach, when we go out to service our communities, we do that in a non-partisan. When we say it's a service delivery Friday like today, I am here, they are there, must go and join them. We expect all of them to be there while they run specific programs that are unique in water, they do in electricity, they do and so forth. But as they arrive in communities, we expect them to work with ward councillors, non-partisan, and service our communities in a non-partisan way. I think
that should suffice. Let's deal with the others.
Yeah, no, we did indicate the last one. I then made a reference that it is not only the auditor that has been, killed. There is a young man who worked in the supply chain, in the adjudication, was also killed. That is maybe 6 months before my term. my leadership. That there is the CFO who is sitting next to me, who was also shot in the hail of the bullets and survived. So that package of a report is a report that we forwarded to the police, and the police, they are indeed looking at it. And there has been a leadership from the national police, including the premier, in terms of what needs to happen. So we are receiving the necessary support. I might not be sure about other officials who are facing who have done wrong things across. All the officials are subjected to, where there is an issue, we actually ensure that consequences, and we do follow up. And then the other issue was the issue of the advert was done. We could have done it earlier, but I'm not sure whether it's really beneficial for us to go back to say what has been happening. But I must say that the person...
Say what, sorry?
I'm not sure whether it's going to be beneficial to go back. I'm just sensitive.
No, to go back to what?
To what was happening in the environment. Because we are now forward-looking, we've advertised.
Which environment?
With the city manager, there was a specific question that was raised.
No, you don't judge, we judge.
Yeah, I'm just sensitive, Chair, about issues that could trigger and end up in the legal space. But let me go as far as I can. I will be careful.
No. We will ask the question. If we think that you shouldn't answer it, we will indicate. If we think you should answer it, you can stand there and say you're refusing to answer. That's different. But if we ask the question, if we think that question shouldn't be asked, we will answer, we will say so. So up until then, you answer.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. The member asked why you did not advertise much earlier. And I did indicate that I rely on administration to advertise. If the administration believes that there's no vacancy in the city manager post, and who's that administration? It is the city manager who is expected to advertise. And you understand the complexity.
There's nothing you have said so far. You have not said anything so far.
No.
The question is why did you... let's not play it like that. Just maybe straightforward. Why, these are the reasons why we didn't advertise.
Yeah, we could not advertise because the issue of whether there's a vacancy or no vacancy was not clarified.
By? Well, it was not clarified by who?
The mayor had clarity that there's a vacancy. There's a retirement, there's a vacancy. But the sitting city manager believed that he's got a contract that goes beyond, and therefore there's no vacancy. So we could not advertise.
So how did the city manager, when you said there was a vacancy, it was based on what?
Based on the Section 41 of the Municipal Systems Act.
Don't worry about the act. I want the action. The action. What was the event? What was the action that had happened that made the mayor believe that there's a vacancy? Something would have happened. It may have happened according to a particular section, but just that specifically.
The retirement of 65. The legislation is clear. When you reach 65, the first day of the month following the month you reach 65,
okay.
Then there is a retirement, then it activates a vacancy. The member asked why we did not advertise much earlier.
No, we understand. I just want us to walk along together. The question was, why didn't you advertise much earlier? You say it was not clarified whether there was a vacancy or not, and I said, by who? Then you say, well, the mayor understood that there was a vacancy. So I say, when you believe there was a vacancy, it was based on what? Now, you are saying it was based on the fact that in terms of the law, at age 65, someone who's in underemployment has to retire. I follow that. Now, then what stopped the retirement at that age?
No, the retirement has happened, but we could only advertise once the retirement has taken place.
Mayor, what are you saying?
I'm saying we could only advertise. We could only advertise on the 1st of August once the retirement of the retired city manager has taken place. It means the city manager is no longer in the post, and with the new acting city manager, we could then advertise.
Okay, let's take it one step further, Mayor. Right now, who is in the post of MM?
There is no city manager at the moment.
There's no acting, there's no permanent?
There's acting roles.
Sorry?
There's acting city manager, yes.
And where is the one who was in the post?
She has retired.
She is retired?
Yes.
When did she retire?
1st of August.
So, how did she retire 1st of August? How did that happen? That there's all documentation done and then signed off and out of work?
Yeah, she has now signed all the documentation. And, yeah, she's...
So that issue of retirement is closed?
Yes, the issue of retirement.
And it's based on the 65 years?
Yes.
Okay. You see, when it becomes a bit of a problem for us is when you answer the way you're answering, and yet this date was known to be the date when the member was going to turn 65. So your human resource department would have then engaged the person and said, in August you shall retire, the advert will come up 3 months, 4 months before your retirement, or 4 or 5 months before, because we know you'll be retiring. You'll do the processes, interview, get a successful candidate, take it to council, everybody satisfied themselves that everything has been done properly, and then this gets done, say in June or July, everybody knows there's no vacancy until August. Now, in August, you've now, Mr. X, you've been shortlisted and you've been approved by council. You will be our next municipal manager. And on starting date on something, August or September, once the incumbent has retired. That's normal administration. The question the member was asking was, why did that not happen? That's the question we're asking. Leave the whole rest of the issues. That's what we're trying to get, because that's how we understand administration to work.
That is why, Chair, I said, because at the time, there was difference of opinion between myself us as a political leadership who believed that the law says you are retiring when you are 65, and the administrative leadership, and I don't want to make this to be about myself and the CM because it has been much publicized, but the administrative leadership believed that they are not on retirement because they've got a contract that was signed which takes them beyond the age 65. And they've also written to the minister to ask for a waiver and all that. So there's been those issues which then...
So when were those resolved? Because now she's gone.
Well, we have, they are now resolved. I mean, what is good is that they are now resolved. We had to firm up so that we make sure that we keep the city going and that there's continuity, there's no ambiguity. And there's been various engagement between the mayor and the city manager to manage that aspect. We can ventilate in greater detail, but I'm sure what is of good now is that there is clarity. We've advertised. We are now looking forward to secure the much needed skill to actually ensure that there is no vacuum in Ekhuruleni. And we've received the necessary signatures, so there is no longer a contention. Thank you.
Look, let me just leave it. Maybe the members will reflect over that. Let's deal with the freezing of posts.
Sorry, Chairperson, I did respond, Chair.
Yeah, I missed it. Just quickly, just do it straight, 1, 2.
Yeah, I've indicated, Chair, that we had 5,000.
No, that's not the question. You gave. I asked you the question of vacancies. You gave me 5,000. We passed. The member is asking, oh, okay, there were posted to say some are frozen. And is asking the question, if they are frozen, why don't you just abolish them? Why do you think you need them? You've frozen them. Why don't you think you need them? Why do you think you need them, and why don't you abolish them? That's more the question now, beyond the 5,000.
Okay, no, thanks, Chair. Like we indicated, Chair, that the strength of our recruitment is based on the financial health of the institution. At this point in time, we can't go on a massive recruitment to appoint all of the 5,000. So we ask all the HODs to do a recruitment plan, prioritizing critical skills that will be necessary for service delivery, and secondly, to deal with the issues of governance. So those are the issues, Chair, at the moment we are dealing with. And the others, Chair, as the financial health of the institution improves, then we'll look on those issues, Chair. That's how we have approached these issues, Chair. So of interest, they will prioritize water, because it's central even from revenue and service delivery. Energy is also part of those that we are prioritizing. Waste as a business unit, we are prioritizing. And the others then that will be on the governance, will be on the risk, legal and internal audit. Those are the issues we are prioritizing, Chair, at this point in time.
Okay, let's leave it. Let's just do one quick thing, Mayor. The advertised posts, is the CFO advertised there? You remember you said your matters with the minister. Is the CFO post advertised, or is the CFO post put on the permanent post? What's the status?
Chair, we've got a number of posts.
Don't do that.
No,
just a straight 1-2 answer. That's all.
No, it is not.
That's it. We'll come back then. That's fine.
Yeah, maybe we can close it, Chair.
Okay.
We've got a number of posts which were employed before the finalization of the institutional review. And all those number of posts are posts that when they finish their term, which is what you call it, active term, and then we'll then move them into the permanency regime. And as I've indicated, that the institutional review has been one of the massive exercises that we've been doing in terms of the organogram. So I was just trying to say is that it's not just the CFO, but a number of other functions that There's post the approval of the institutional review and the prior approval. And the post approval now, everything else now we do it because we know which post is permanent, which post required us to actually merger with another post, which department requires us to abolish.
Yeah, let's leave because you are explaining that. That's fine. I was just wanting a specific thing about the CFO because there's a matter around the CFO. The rest of the other posts, that deals with the question of freezing. Let's move to the next one. Which one are you dealing with?
No, thank you, Chair. I'm dealing with the one on the whistleblower, whether they are protected and what is our policy.
Sure, proceed.
Yes. No, we've got approved frameworks to deal with that, but to deal with the practicalities, we've got a service provider who hosts whistleblowing, and the reports comes directly to me in terms of dealing with the investigations going forward. So that's how we deal with it, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. The members can take that forward. Can we visit?
Thank you, Chair. I think maybe just for sake of clarity, I think I went a bit further to say, to what extent is this muzzling in terms of looking at how robust your policy is on whistleblowers? How far is it muzzling, potential whistleblowers in that environment of Ekhuruleni? And also I mentioned the element, Chair, of that has there never been a link, because I would doubt very much that to be the case, of someone inside, because that can only happen when there's someone inside collaborating with someone outside. Just comfort on that. Thank you, Chair.
Through Chair, we haven't seen the link, direct link. And with the things that has happened, we have left that to the police. So, but there hasn't been a link of a whistleblower that came to us and there was some kind of killing or something. We haven't seen that. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, in relation to the issue of the unfunded budget, I'd just like the member to just read the Auditor General's statement.
Thank you, Chair. It says the AGSA 23-24 MFMA report noted that the Council did not adequately oversee the budget prepared by the Municipal Manager and approved an unfunded budget, placing additional pressure on the municipality's financial position.
Sorry? That's page 129 of the AG's report. Okay.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. Earlier, I think we tried our best to answer that question because it was raised much earlier. And I did indicate, Chair, that as far as it relates to our own understanding of that, Chair, is that we had an authorized expenditure that we indicated of 387 in terms of the access consumption. And that was our understanding of that, Chair. And I also did make reference, Chair, that when the MEC Maile yesterday was making a submission in terms of the municipalities that had budget that were funded, Ekhuruleni was part of it. But our understanding, Chair, because we looked at the unauthorized expenditure and maybe we thought it comes from that direction, Chair, that there's this access consumption that the council did not budget for it. That was precisely in relation to that issue, Chair. But as far as it relates from provincial government, they've indicated that the budget is funded, Chair. Thank you.
Do we have the AG's office here? Oh, please come to the fore. We'll come back to the issue. Let's get the next comment. Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. My first question is on the ESCOM areas. and the collection rate there. Will you be, sir, through you, Chair, can we ask the municipality to give us, within 3 months' time, a report on the water pressure project that you said you're going to implement there, to see what the effect would be on the collection rate there? Thank you. Then apparently there was a historical case of documents that disappeared before in the unauthorized and fruitless wasteful expenditure before 2016, and the AG ordered the municipality or the MM to find those documents. Can we give us some information on that process? And it's also clear that most of the unauthorized and irregular expenditure is due to the supply chain management. Does the municipality ever consider tender meetings to be open to the public? Then there was also some corruption cases discovered. I don't know, was it by yourself or the AG, due to the electricity billing? And can you confirm that there is a possibility that if this process, all the investigation's been done and the referrals been done, and you do due diligent consequence management, that there is a possibility that you can recover 22 billion rand or million rand? Can you just confirm whether that is true or not? Then also, I would like to know at this moment, is your internal controls, like the internal audit committee, your impact committee, your disciplinary board, in such a functional condition that you are able to pick up on yourself and identify corrupt or possible fraudulent actions and or unauthorized and irregular and fruitless expenditure? And then what is the timeline and the expected completion of the lifestyle audits that you requested on your senior managers and public representatives? And then I'm glad that you say you're focusing on water, because this one is coming from some of the residents. Central Bedford Bio has been without water for 3 weeks due to a program, the Signal Hill Reservoir. The reservoir hasn't been working since last year, November. Then after 10 months, it was finally reopened, but it immediately started leaking. The repair project clearly was not done correctly, and now we're told they need to do a whole new procurement process to get another contractor to fix the reservoir. It can't be that local government pay for major projects, and when they aren't done right, they have to pay all over again. This isn't fair to residents without water, and it's contributing to financial problems at these municipalities, which I agree with. My question to you is, what kind of processes do you have that make sure that the quality of the service providers is in such a standard that you don't have to pay again for the work that's been done? Thank you.
Hello, thank you. Can we get the next, please?
Thank you. Thank you again, Chairperson, for the opportunity. I was hoping that we would have got the input from the AG, because I was going to raise a similar issue, but nevertheless, let's just go with the flow. Lots has thus far been asked and said. I wanted to elaborate on perhaps 3 points, colleagues. That is, regarding the supply chain and the evaluation of tenders, okay? So I wanted to understand, the bid committee. Do you have a transparent, open bid evaluation committee that handles and the opening of the tenders in public, or is it a closed process? Just wanted to get a straightforward answer on that, okay? And I wanted to understand the implementation, of course, of the specific HR policies and systems. I think the matter was discussed, but my question is again a very straightforward one. Why has the HR policies, why has this not been implemented or approved as yet, based on what I have read in the report? Okay? The performance management system, I think that came up, so I will not be repetitive on that. Again, I read and checked the sanitation, your sanitation rollout within the municipality is pretty problematical, and I think you must be aware of that, because currently your provision level, according to the report which I have checked, is only running at some 42%. Okay, and that's there. You can check it. Your smart meter system, I haven't heard much about the implementation of your smart meter system. The irregular expenditure, that was covered, Chairperson, so I'm skipping, I'm going fast as I can. I wanted to find out to what level and extent now in 2025 has your digitalization, your digital systems rather, progress, and at what level are you now with that, and where do you budget for that, where's that money coming from? And then finally, Chairperson, based on the little discussion that took place a few minutes ago, I get the impression, and I say this with due respect, Chair, that the CFO seems to be right now, in the absence of a city manager, seems to be the referee and the player. Who approves, who signs off, who does the buck stop with? Or is it always going to be a political decision in terms of what you sign off on and what you're not allowed to sign off on? Because I don't know, I just find it difficult to comprehend that the city of Ekhuruleni does not have a city manager in place, but the CFO takes responsibility for that. Then who takes responsibility for the CFO? I mean, how can you be the player and the referee? I don't grasp it. In terms of the MFMA, it's in total contradiction to the PFMA for the little understanding that I might have. So perhaps just a straightforward, honest, transparent answer from you, Mr. Mayor, and the CFO would do society as a whole some good. Chairperson, yeah,
Okay.
I'll hold there. Thank you.
Thank you. May I just request the team from Cogta, nationally, provincial treasury, to come to the fore. And we will then get to the responses, please. You've got the questions. If you can start the responses. Cogta and provincial treasury.
Chair, no, thanks, Chair. The bid evaluation committee is not open for public. Is closed at the moment. It's not open. You wanted a straightforward answer.
Sorry, CFO. When you first spoke, I had an issue with you and the mic. It's coming back again.
Is it audible, Chair?
Keep it like that, never drop it.
Okay.
Good.
No, thanks, Chair. I'm saying in terms of the bid evaluation committee, at the moment is closed, sir. It's not open for the public. We did, Chair, back then prior COVID, we did have the open bid adjudication committee. It was open, but during COVID and all, we never went back to that process. Actually, the issues of having committees being open as adopted by provinces, it was started by ourselves in Gauteng. But currently, they are not open, Chair. Then in terms of the provision on the sanitation, when you look at electricity and water,
you're gonna have lots of provision on water. And it's because in the ESCOM supplied area, for the longest time, we didn't have a measure to do credit control because the infrastructure of this connection sits with ESCOM. And they are focused on their own revenue. They don't care about the water supply, the sanitation, and the property rates. And to deal with that issue is what we have indicated earlier, that the water department have approved a water management pressure. I think one of the members here has raised that we need to provide monthly progress in the next 3 months, just for them to see whether is it assisting us to deal with those issues. And I will leave the other questions to your good self, Ian.
Yeah, I think there's a number of questions. The Central Bedford view, we did indicate that the mayoral outreach team is out in Germiston, visiting various hotspots, service delivery hotspots, from the issues of cable theft in Wadeville, going up Primrose Hill. There's a lot of illegal tampering by households. There's a lot of overload, people who build backyard dwellers without necessary approval, without necessarily ensuring that there's proper capacity added. So all those things, they lead to the trips and all that, and results in the constant outages. We do think that some of the third-party interference with the electrical infrastructure, because it's so frequent it doesn't matter what type of deployment, we deploy IT to look into those, technology to look into that. We are now currently out to enhance the technology, but also the security, but it now costs us a bit of money to replace, but also to provide additional guards for that. So we're looking at that. We're also looking at the sewer infrastructure. And one of my plans was that we must conclude the day by going to the Signal Hill. And that is a project as part of the 1.2 billion investment that the city had done to build the security of water through building the reservoirs and the towers, about over 39 or so reservoirs that has actually been done, commissioned, and the majority of them are fully functional. In the area of the Signal Hill has been one of them where we then required a strict connection to supply the Bedford View community from rainwater, and then they were able to give us that straight connection. But sometimes when the straight connection is the one that passes, it goes to Joburg. When there's excess consumption in the low-lying areas, it then affects that area as well. So it's an area that we must go to and actually look at it. The project is almost completion in terms of some of the remedial works, because there was a leak. The leak that by now it's supposed to be completed, and those are issues that we're supposed to oversight today, so that we can then give update to the communities of Bedford View. The last area, well, we have not pronounced on lifestyle audit. We're busy fixing the basics, getting them to move, sorting out our finances, ensuring that we get all the systems to run. And I'm sure these are some of the additional issues that we must look into once we've cleared the issues before us. And I must say it again, the issue of the electricity billing, it is now resolved. We've went out, we've reported to council, we've reported to our communities that if you look at the financial year, the last financial year, which is the one that is under review here, 2023-2024, the variance on the electricity was sitting at 29%, which now has we've taken it down to 15.5, if you round it off to 16%. And historically, we've always, before the takeover of the ICT, some of this function from energy to ICT, this function has always been sitting at about 12%. And historically, we've always ensured that we don't go, so it is a regress that we've now fixed. And we do believe that we will continue to monitor this quarter to actually see how does it comes out the next quarter. So, but we're confident that at 97% of the reading accuracy, we now have all the systems under control. And of course, where there's issues of consequences, they will continue. Council, they said they want a full forensic over the systems and all that, and that work is ongoing. We will be then getting those reports. So that if there were issues of mismanagement, inefficiencies and all that, which are issues of performance, it's one thing. But if there's issues of deliberate, underhand, trying to defraud and so forth the system, then that will then, on the basis of the forensic, it will tell, and then the appropriate measures will be meted. But where we're sitting now, we are comfortable that this is a thing of the past, and when we start this financial year, we're starting on a healthy foot. I think. There was something about 2016 and so forth. We might not have a data going that far, sitting here.
In terms of the regular expenditure, the members have raised questions, and if you look at our balance on the fruitless expenditure, we're sitting at around 68, and that amount is historic. For the last 5 years, I've indicated we have not, and in the irregular expenditure, we're sitting around 1 billion. Out of that 1 billion, majority of it relates to transactions of around 2010, 2014. And those are the issues that are before MPEC. To try to resolve, majority of the people that were in the institution are no longer there. Those are the challenges we are faced, even retrieving of those reports that actually indicated those figures. So those are the issues that we are dealing with. But relatively, our figures as far as it relates to fruitless, wasteful and irregular expenditure is sitting at a reasonable amount. But our target is 0. And we have maintained that we want 0 irregular, 0 fruitless, 0 unauthorized expenditure. Then when it comes to, there was issues in terms of the governance structures. We have a full functioning MPEC. And I think even in the AG reports, if you look across all the metros in Gauteng, relatively by size and all, you'll see in Joburg, they're sitting above 20 billion. Tshwane, they're sitting at above 20 billion. We're sitting at 10% of their reported figures. Ours is around just below 2 billion. So that shows how effective MPEC is working. It's also showing how effective internal audit, the head of internal audit is here. We have a full functioning audit committee. Majority of the reports that are approved by audit committee have been with no issues. Our financial statement before we submit to AG are approved by audit committee. They have never came with material issues, even performance information. So we believe that the committees, that there is a disciplinary board in place to deal with any financial misconduct. Then when it comes to one question was raised by the chair earlier, and I said I'll respond to it as far as how much is owed by our own employee. The total number of our employee that owes us are 1.1 thousand, and the total rent figure
is 52 million, of which out of the 52, 10 million is current and 42 million, Chair, is in areas. That is the figures that you asked earlier, and I said I'll get the responses. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe just two issues that we might have on the HR issues. The CFO, the referee, and the player. I must say that the council has delegated the mayor to deal with the issues of acting while he was still sourcing the municipal manager. But very clear framework that has been given is that those who act must be those who qualify, who meets the criteria, who could be, within. It means if an HOD or a divisional head can't act as because they are at a lower level, and we've got, of course, a number of other HODs in different departments, whom we can, at any time, give them a responsibility as and when, a need for a change arise. One of the need for a change could be a rotation. One of the needs for a change could be what is currently on the table. If it's a financial year end that we must close and all that. So it is a function that at this stage it's a temporary function, and that we should be able to resolve the permanent placement of the city manager. The last.
Sorry, who did you say is acting?
Yes.
Who is acting?
The
acting MM.
Currently, Kahiso, the group CFO.
Yes, the issue that the member is raising is not whether your policy for choosing the acting is a problem and whether there should be someone who's going to act for a short time. The issue is raising is a principle of what happens when somebody must oversee the CFO and the CFO is in charge. And therefore that means what should have been submitted for the MM to finalize will start from the CFO's office. He signs it, he goes to the next office, he receives it and signs it again. That's the question. So let's not go to why people act, what criteria we use for people to act, that this is within policy. Let's not go there. This is the issue the member is raising. You can just comment on that and then, just focus on that.
Thank you. I think we do take note. What I was trying to raise, Chair, is that across the environment, all the heads of department that are currently in place, they've got delegated authority to sign certain things. So it is not unique to the CFO, the head of water, for instance.
Can I stop you a bit, Mayor? You see, we are explaining your approach and we are saying we're not asking that. We're just simply saying you have one man who has an operational and a supervisory role at the same time, both combined in one person for purposes of oversight and transparency. What is your view on that? Now, don't explain about the others. Just comment on that and let's leave it. Now, so far your comment is simple. You said you note it. You see, that's all the comment you have made. If you say you note it, then don't explain the things we are not asking you.
No, I was just expanding, Chair.
No, don't expand. No, Mayor, wait.
I take your guidance.
Mayor, wait. You see, you have been called several times to say, just focus and deal with the issue. All right? Now, me and you are politicians. Part of what we have to do here is to express views and explain things and say what we want to say, not what you want to hear. This is different. Here you're going to answer what we are asking you, not what you want to tell us, what we need to know. So simplify it. If you got another comment beyond noting, beyond noting, then let's hear that comment. Don't say to me, no, actually I'm explaining to you this because we don't want to, we're asking for the third time. Don't go there. Just explain to understand the concern of the member. If you do, to have a comment, you say you're noting it, close it. Don't go back because I'm going to stop you again.
No, Chair, I think I note the comment of the member. I was just elaborating, Chair, on the basis
No, that's enough. You've noted it, that's it.
Noted.
Okay,
Chair.
thank you. Can we move back?
Chair, the last issue was on the how far are we to digitalize the city.
I'll give you 30 seconds for that one.
Yeah, no, we have adopted the approach to invest in the systems. One of the areas where we've put up a huge investment is on the service delivery dashboard, which monitors, the service delivery interruption, which tracks them, and we use that as a scientific data to tell you how many energy issues have been reported and how far have we gone to actually resolve those issues. It is now automated even on the phone. There is an app that backs it up. You can now open the app. If there's a pothole, you take the photo with GIS coordinates, it upload it, and then it send it to the call center, and then it gets routed to the depot, and an engineer is dispatched to the reference number. And once they've done the work, they then close that call. What we need to master now is when people close a call when they've not done the work or the quality of the work. And I think that's one of the areas where we get complaints from our communities to say, please perfect it.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. Can I just ask you a different question based on that? Have you had a complaint of tampering with information in relation to debts owed by particular citizens or institutions, which is done by members within your department, within your municipality? And what has been the situation with that, and how far has been that investigation?
No, thank you. That is part of the 2 billion losses. A component of the 2 billion, I'm sure about 273 million rands. It's out of tempering, rates clearance, accounts deletion, accounts manipulation. So it's part of the forensic, it's part of the actions that we've actually taken. Chair, thanks.
Thank you. Can we take the last questions? I thought we were covered.
Never, Chair. I'm going to try and compete with Honourable Menta and see if I can do 15 minutes. Yeah. Okay. All right. The first question was with regard to water and water pipes. I see that you've got over R1 billion worth of water losses in the municipalities. The questions I want to ask you, and you did mention the fact that your spending on capital spending, I think, was at about 98%, and your everyday spending was pretty much close to maximum as well. But I want to ask you two questions about water. What are the total amount of water pipes, the total length of water pipes in Ekhuruleni? How many 1,000 kilometers worth of water pipes do you have? And how many have you replaced in the last 2 years per year? Okay, so how many lengths of water pipes have you replaced? So I get the fact that you're spending a lot of money on capital, but what are you doing that's really useful? And I'm talking about really useful is actually renewing your pipes to get rid of those leaks as well. So I'd like I'd like it expressed in the kilometers of water pipes that have been replaced in the last 2 years, okay? And then the second question related to a comment in the introduction, I think, by the mayor, when he was responding to the chairperson. And the chairperson asked what the collection level was, and he said the aim is 90%, okay, which is very nice, but what is the actual, okay? So over the last 2 years, what has been your actual collection percentage? And then the other issue as well, I just noticed that your audit outcomes obviously have slipped from being in the green now to, well, basically, I think with, you've got an unqualified but with findings. What has caused that, and what are you doing to get yourself back to an unqualified, or a clean audit, so as to speak? And then just a final comment. You expressed happiness with the fact that you've got a coalition grouping, and that when you go out now and go and see your communities, that it's all very non-political. I mean, that's really what I would have expected you to be doing. That's actually what municipal government should be doing. You fight general elections, and then for the next 5 years, you actually deliver to everybody on a non-partisan basis. So well done, but it's almost like congratulating a fish for swimming. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Chair, and good day to everyone. My first question is with regards to the 2.4 billion that you said you are going to identify a private partner who's going to generate it. So my question is, what will be the focus area or focus areas of that private partner in sourcing that particular revenue? Because I think you emphasize that you want to get extra revenue outside the traditional municipal revenue. So I'm interested to know what would be the focus area that that private partner is going to focus on in order to generate this 2.4 billion rands. Secondly, according to the AG, on average, it takes you 62 days to collect revenue from your debtors. And it takes you, on average, 125 days to pay your creditors. And I think earlier, the executive mayor, I think, canvassed the point about the difficulties that you are facing with regards to the collection of revenue. And I think the CFO also, I think, raised a point with regards to the delay as one of the reasons for the delay in the payment of creditors, that you want to make sure about the correctness and the authenticity of invoices that are submitted in order to avoid audit query from the AG office in future. But I just want to check the correlation between the 62 days on average on the collection of revenue and the 125 days on the payment of your debtors. Because as much as there's a delay in the collection of revenue, that CFO, you indicated that you want to double check the documents, the invoices and everything, and the mayor spoke about the difficulties. But now 62 days versus 125 days. It means the delay, as much as there's a delay in collecting the revenue, but that delay is about 2 months. But the delay in paying your creditors is about 4 months. It means if a person submits an invoice today, which is the 5th of September, that person is likely to be paid on the 5th of January in 2026. So I'm checking the correlation between the two. See?
Good now? Let's close it.
Okay, the last point, Chair. The issue of the acting, of the CFO being the acting city manager. I think the mayor has indicated that the council has resolved that the mayor should appoint the person who's acting as long as that person qualifies. Just want to find out, Executive Mayor, on which legislative framework was the council relying on? Because according to our knowledge, it is the council that must appoint an acting city manager. You see, the council can't give the executive mayor a blank check to say appoint any person and then you can rotate them. Because the problem with that is that if tomorrow there will be differences between the executive mayor and the CFO, it means tomorrow the executive mayor is going to appoint somebody else, one of the HOD who qualifies, and next week if there are differences, the executive may change. So that's my problem with that. But secondly is that
No,
if
no. You are now debating the matter. We have had the point. You have asked the question is in place. It was your last.
Okay, no,
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you. You covered, madam, for sure. Thank you. No, the gentleman. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. You know, sometimes you ask yourself, why are you here? You know, when I look at the MEC, that matter of the unlawful, which was declared unlawful, the matter between yourself and the seat of Ekhuruleni, now I understand why. Now I'm aware of that. It can't be that it can't be right that the accounting officer is a CFO. Let's be clear on that. It can't be right. You don't have to have a PhD to understand that. You are highly qualified. You are highly qualified enough to understand that. Even in the so-called Inenduna area where I used to preside, we are much better than that. Dokotela, I was somewhere as a Ekosini. We operate much better than this. It's disappointing, I must say. And for the CFO or acting municipal city manager, that is a legacy problem that there is 1 billion rand irregular expenditure. For me, it doesn't hold water. Because I was looking at all the municipality, particularly your municipality. Can you currently tell us exactly, in the last financial year, what is the figure? Not the legacy one. And the fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Because these things are being done by our own people. Chartered accountants, people who are holding master's degree. It's like when, I don't understand, how does this thing go up to that stage of being irregular? Perhaps for our people, not for us sitting here. I was in Jimiston executive mayor.
It's 1 minute, 2 minutes.
I'm contemporizing it, Chair. I was in Jimiston. The foreign national have taken over that. What is your plan on that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one. You covered. Upumile. Oh, okay. No, that's fine. No problem. Can we deal with the responses? May I invite Treasury and the AG to come over back again? I don't see them now. Please proceed.
Okay, no thanks, Chair and members, for the questions. Chair, on the fruitless expenditure for the year AG audited, we had 0. And in terms of the irregular expenditure in the year in question, the total irregular expenditure was 32 million. That is the total figure that prevented the city to get a clean audit. But just for the committee to understand, if you look, for example, say, on the 1 billion, we break it down in years. Out of the 1 billion, 600 million, it relates to transactions that happened more than 10 years ago. That is what we're indicating. Then between 5 and to 10 years is around 233 million. In the last 5 years, the irregular expenditure that the city has incurred in the last 5 years is around 200 million. That is what the city has incurred. When you break down that's why in our issue we're indicating that issue. Then on the fruitless expenditure, out of the 68 million, 65 million, it relates to fruitless that happened 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. And then 2.8 is what has happened between 5 years to 10 years. In the last 5 years, the city did not have any fruitless expenditure. Then as far as it relates to the collection, our collection are averaging slightly just above 90% for the past 2 financial years. That is our collection. The other question, Chairperson, will request that we provide a written response, the one that it requires the total pipes network. It's highly for the last 2 financial years. It's highly technical at this point in time. We don't want to mislead the committee. Well, I appreciate the guidance of the chair to allow us to engage the engineers and provide a written response in that direction. And as far as it relates to the 2.4 billion, in terms of the revenues that are from the revenue enhancement strategy, one is the outdoor advertisement. If you look at the Joburg, their projected revenue around that is around 500 million. In our space, we are sitting at 100 million. So one of the strategies to leverage the airport and all of that, to expand on that. And the other issues are on the strategic land parcels. The government as a whole has lots of assets, including infrastructure that we are not using. There are private sector people that they want to take it and generate revenue. So those are some of the issues we are looking at. And in terms of the issues of the aging of the revenue and the aging of the expenditure, we are looking closely on those issues to speedily deal with these issues. Hence, we adopted the revenue turnaround strategy to come with this additional 2 billion that is outside the traditional revenue base, so that we are able to deal with the liquidity position of the institution. Yeah.
Thank you. Just to close is that there's various initiatives that are outside of what is traditional, but we also invite the innovation across. As long as you are innovative, you are able to say, look, I can throw in this money at my own cost, and then we'll be able to generate so much revenue. Some that we're trying to perfect, whether it's issues of the billboards, whether it's issues of how do you fast track the approval, to unlock, developments, and all that. So there's various initiatives that are coming up, and we are actually conservative when we project to 2.4 billion. It's over 5 billion, but we said, because we can't now take this to the books until the probabilities we actually measure to say we can focus on the 2 billion and 2.4 billion in this financial year, and gradually as we recover, as those projects get to be implemented, we then expand on it. So council have delegated. I might have to just look at what is the legislation. Powers are for council, but council delegates a certain functions that the mayor could be able to handle. And I must say, I've taken note of some of the comments that the committee they've actually mentioned, but a legacy of 1 billion in our environment, a 68 billion organization, where we deal with so many transactions and comparable to other metros of a similar size. Look at the Johannesburg as, don't want to refer to my colleague, I thought he's the mayor of Tshwane. You can look next door and look at what are the balances in terms of fruitless, unauthorized, irregular expenditures. And look what is the contribution that the city is making. And we're not saying the billion rand is small, because our effort is that we must take it below the billion. At some point with efforts to take it below the billion.
So why do you compare with them?
No, I was just...
We didn't bring them here because we didn't want the comparison. Why do you want us to bring them here?
No, but the member was saying the legacy, and I was just trying to say, but we've been making efforts, and I'm not saying we need to be praised for a billion. We must work harder to actually, if you look at the movements year on year, there has been quite extensive efforts to actually not incur new transgression.
No.
And I don't want to defend this
No.
CFO.
You mustn't argue with us like that. Because there's not 1 cent that as National Assembly, we're a National Assembly, there's not 1 cent that we are empowered to agree that it should not be investigated. If the others have not, leave us to deal with them. We're asking about your billion. So don't bring the others in. Because if you do that, you're creating a sense to us that you're actually just disregarding because we think the others are worse. And that's the problem, because that attitude, it cannot be accepted. So address the issue, but don't make us feel like you actually don't care about this billion that we're asking you because your neighbors are worse. That's the problem. Okay, let's finish.
Yeah, I take note, Chair, and I take the input. We are really appreciative of the professionals that we have, in particular in the finance environment, that we've been able to recruit right. We went to AG, a senior manager in Recruit 10 years ago. And he went through our governance structures, he went through our supply chain, he got promoted to CFO.
So who is this? Who are you talking about?
The CFO. It's our pride.
No, what's the point of praising him?
We're praising because...
No, we don't require you to do that. You have appointed the guy. We haven't questioned why he was appointed. We simply wanted to know what was the issue with the minister.
I take note.
Now, once you do this, I'm going to ask you to stop the answering. Let's go back to a question that I asked. Okay, the issue that was asked by Nkosi says, you have made a statement of a credible unfunded budget, and that's a contradiction in terms. I then asked you to explain it. You then said you do not have an unfunded budget. You then moved on to explain unfunded mandate. Then I said, don't explain unfunded mandate because we're not discussing that. We're discussing unfunded budget. Then you said, no, you don't have an unfunded budget. And I asked the CFO got in and said, we do not have an unfunded budget. Then I said, let's leave the issue there because that's your answer until we've got a different information, we'll come back. The reason why here we've been entertaining the issue of an unfunded budget is because on our records, that's what you have. So I asked the gentleman there to read the AG's report. And he read it duly, and you heard him say unfunded budget. Then the CFO said, no, we do not have an unfunded budget. Now, then I called, I said, AG, please come over. So I have here Auditor General's office, the National Department of Cogta, represented by Mr. Kevin Chain, who is a manager in the DG's office, referred to me by the DG to represent the DG and explain everything that I need from the DG. Then I've got on the side the lady from National Treasury. So I've been asking them all to tell us, does Ekhuruleni have an unfunded budget? Did Ekhuruleni adopt an unfunded budget? So I'm going to start asking one by one to respond. Please take the mic and give us a sentence or two. Please introduce yourself. Leo mic. Please sort out the mic. Just introduce yourself, your position, and then just give us your brief description of what you're dealing with and explain, just answer the question.
Thank you very much. My name is Machaji Mashweshwe from the National Treasury. I'm the director from the unit called Local Government Budget Analysis. We are responsible for Gauteng Provincial Treasury and its municipalities. So we've had assessed the budget for 2023-24. So the tabled budget was found to be unfunded. Then the adopted budget was funded. But come the adjustment budget, the budget was assessed to be unfunded. So in 2024-25 financial year, the tabled budget was funded. The adopted budget was also funded. But the final budget, which is the adjustment budget for 24-25 financial year, was unfunded. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Chair, I've got nothing to add. I think my colleagues addressed everything. I think if you want to speak about the current financial year, for the current financial year, which is started 2 months ago, they tabled an unfunded budget, but they adopted a funded budget. And just to close that loop. Thanks.
You are not talking about the same financial year now. You are talking about future. Which year? Which year is this?
25-26.
25-26.
Yeah.
Let's get your comment.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon to you and the members and to the city. My name is Msizi Mavundla. I'm the Deputy Business Unit Leader in the Gauteng Business Unit. Chair, it is correct that the tabled budget for 24-25 it was funded. Then the adjustment budget for 24-25 is unfunded. It is the same for 23-24, where the adjustment budget was also not unfunded.
Was also?
23-24, the adjustment budget was also unfunded.
Okay. Let's get your comments, CFO.
Thanks, Chairperson and members. Chair, yeah, I did, Chair, when you raised the question, I did also ask the audit manager because we work to get clarity in terms of where the issues is. So for 2023-2024, Chair, the budget that was approved by Council in May was funded. 2023-2024. The budget that was approved in the May Council of 2024 was funded, and I think both of ourselves were agreeing with them. And the issues that they are brought to my attention, based on what I've received from the audit manager, they are referring to the adjustment budget of 2024-2025, which is the adjustment budget in the current year where they are going to audit. We have never had an opportunity, Chair, to engage with AG or to clarify that position, Chair. In the screenshot that they've sent is 2024-2025. It's not part of the report that was tabled by the AG, because the report that was tabled by the AG in Parliament, it relates to 2023-2024 financial year. And the budget that was before Council, May 2024, was funded, Chair. Thank you.
Let's go back. 23-24. The AG is talking about that budget, and they're saying what was the situation with that budget?
The question that they've given, the evidence that they've given me when you ask the question, because
no, don't go there. I'm just asking. 23-24, You are saying, what was the status of the budget?
Funded.
Adjusted?
The adjusted of 2023-24 funded.
And then 23-24? 24-25?
The budget of 2024-2025 funded, Chair.
Okay, I think it's important to note that the final budget in any financial year is the one that is final, and that is the one that is adjusted. So the adjusted budget is the final budget, because you table and you adopt in May, and then you adjust in February, January, whatever the case may be. That budget that you adopt in February, January of the financial year is the final budget. And in this case, both from National Treasury together with the Cogta analysis, and there's a letter that was in fact sent to the city manager for 23-24, the adjusted budget was unfunded.
Okay.
So the age is correct.
Now, you see, CFO, we begin to get a problem in an issue we had not really been focusing on. The issue of the status of the budget cannot be misunderstood between you and Treasury and Cogta and Auditor General. And when we have a report here that said your budget was unfunded, you insist it was, unless you intend to just mislead this committee. Now we have to now deal with the misleading of the committee. That's not what we're discussing. We're just trying to understand what is it that you have. Now, all our reports are saying that that budget you're talking about was unfunded. The issues that are raised by the members, they are not agreeing with what you are saying. So we now have a problem if the CFO is the one who seems to be misunderstanding what is it that we are talking about. If this is what you explained to us, we wouldn't be here. You didn't explain that. Now, would I believe that you didn't understand it? The reason why I won't is because the mayor next to you has just been singing praises about the experience you have, which makes it difficult for me to believe that mistake was, that statement was a mistake. What it sounds like now is that you wanted us to have a particular version which is being contradicted. That is the problem now. But what we wanted to know, because what we're interested in here is funded budget or not funded budget. Now, we wouldn't have, there's not been an situation where we had to call all three of them to come and tell us exactly what is happening. It's only happening here now. Let me have your last comment and then let's close the issue.
No, thanks, Chair. At no point, Chair, was our intention to mislead the committee. If it came like that, I sincerely apologize, Chair. If my recollection, Chair, served me well, and we can, Chair, if permitted, provide a detailed responses, because the budget that in question of 2023-2024, that was approved, was funded. When we went to the budget adjustment, we reduced the budget. We did not increase. So I find it, that's why I'm saying, if permitted, we can provide that. And the other special budget that will pass will be because of the reduction in as far as the grants from the province. But I mean the grants from national and the province, Chair. If I'm permitted, Chair, we can provide a detailed response on that. We never intended to mislead anyone, Chair. We will respond to the issues in detail to the Chair, if the Chair can permit us, Chair.
Okay. No, thank you very much. I think we'll take the matter out of your hands now. We'll bring it up with the MEC. Thank you very much to the team. You can get back to your places. Honourable members, I assume we've answered all the questions. Can we now move to the next? All right. Colleagues, let's start now. Let's start the process. Let's start